Ahoy, wonders, and welcome back to the table. We're here. We have met a lot of people. There are a lot of proper nouns written down on my sheet.
Oh, be prepared for some more.
Excellent. I have room.
I hope you all have your pencils. That's gonna be a doozy.
And if only, like, remembering names were as easy in real life as just stopping to ask the real, like, you know, essentially God, hey, what was this guy's name again?
Yeah, what was this?
Yeah,
all
right.
about? Hey, Tyler, I think I left my pencil over there.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Not yet.
Jeebus! Got one.
Thank God you had this.
I have an additional one now.
Yeah. So thanks to Miles for making me my fucking riot
pencil shield.
My riot shield. Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. So, where have we left off?
As of right now, you guys are currently sitting at. Let me go ahead and get the proper name of the tavern, the Sea Ingot. You have been introduced to a bunch of the fellow people who you will be taking charter with over to just past the Emerald Canal. This is the only ship that is willing to part ways with a 25 gold fee to get you across per passenger, and 1,000 if you want to take a suite.
I'm not gonna front that.
Yep, and Micha is not willing to front the rest of her money to get every single person on that boat.
Well,
25 gold, you say, just for a ticket?
Yep.
Chromagill's got that.
if she's willing to buy herself a suite and not willing to pay 25 gold for each of us to get there, I don't, like, fine.
Listen, man, she's got priorities.
I get it. It's cool.
She got you here in the first place. This is a finder's fee.
I'm trying to save the fucking world, okay?
Yeah, but you might fail.
True enough. You know, I guess you gotta pay for the liability.
I win either ways.
Valtara just wants revenge for her kids.
No, yeah.
That's worth 25 gold.
Chromagill's just hoping that nature seems to chill out for a second. that's
Be
all he's
cool
looking for.
again.
Hey, we don't have to. That animosity doesn't have to be how I feel about every natural interaction I have. Please.
So you guys pretty much introduce yourselves to a handful of other people. The crew now decides to come in after a few minutes. They, Morgan, you now see a bunch of those folks that you were sitting at the card tables with. Mm-hmm. They just hobble their way inside. They're all wearing like their wet work clothes, like their fucking like their hoods are all up and everything. Like they're ready to go out on the open seas. Let's see. Right from the start, you guys are now witnessing a dwarf, two dwarves, a kobold, and two humans saunter on in. They look so fucking like haggard. They look like they haven't slept in days. You can see right before the captain takes his hood off and shows his giant gray bushy beard on the side of his face, clearly that Yith sign is there. Like, it is etched in there proper, like it's tattooed into his flesh.
And the captain was a dwarf, right?
Yes. I will go ahead and just tell you who these people's names are, because they introduced themselves. Upton Blake is the captain, so Captain Blake.
Uptown Blake gonna give it to you.
Absolutely. I thank you for getting that joke. Randolph Dreen is the first mate. He's a dwarf as well.
How you spell that last name?
Dreen, D-R-E-E-N.
Cool. Randolph Dreen.
The kobold's name is Riplo. R-I-P-L-O. The one human who is a deckhand is Simon Skarn. S-K-A-R-N. And the other human who is the cook, he's a rather portly gentleman. His name is Yardley Cold.
Yardley Cold. And you said he was a human as well?
Yes. So the captain and the first mate are dwarves. The two deckhands are a kobold and a human, and the cook is a human.
Cool.
And when they take off their hoods and kind of like sit down at the table and try to usher everyone around them, they all have those symbols on them. In some part of their body, it's tattooed on them. And they all have that same slurred voice every time they speak.
That's gonna make communication amazing.
Well, no, they're not like completely slurred. It's just like they get a little bit of like a droll in their B's and their hard P's.
It's like that mouth's full of molasses.
Yeah. So Riplo and Simmons start walking around trying to get everyone's cash at this point. They finally get to you, Wake, and they ask you for your 25.
I dig into my pouch and I hand it to him.
Alrighty. Chromagill, a tiny red scale kobold with a Yith tattoo etched in his forehead, comes to you with a little collection pot.
As he's kind of gathering gold out of his various flaps, collecting 25 pieces, just kind of motions towards the tattoo and just sort of nods. Wait, have I rapport scored in here at all? Can none of these people?
You
know?
have,
not on the crew. The crew just entered.
The
just
crew
got
have
here.
not
Okay, the crew.
had your rapport spore.
Okay. Then I'll just give him the gold. I won't talk to him yet.
Oh, okay.
Make this easier on him. won't make this awkward
They're just
right
doing
out of
a
the gate.
job.
Yep. And Mr. Skarn now reports to you and asks for 25.
Michael
Hand it to
Scarf.
him.
Riplo reports to Valtara.
The Macarena.
She does not have money on her. She spent it all at the bookstore, at the magic shop.
I'll front for Voltara.
So long as someone's getting money. Though
Someone's doing
This is my expedition. I'll take control.
well, at that point though, I need everyone to roll an insight check, as when Wake decides to put the money in for Valtara, the crew doesn't seem too kindly about that.
Well, Wake's not going to notice as he's digging through his pouch with a 7.
I got a 7 as well.
13.
Chromagill, the guy who can't fucking talk to any of
The
these
most
folks,
attentive.
the most attentive one out of this entire group, noticed that there is some very reserved ire for someone who can't pay for themselves on this trip. Almost like this is a situation that has happened in the past and has made complications with this crew.
Wonder how they feel about the baby.
This
Where's the quarter, baby? Give us the quarter.
Why ain't that baby paying?
is it typical custom to show those who need aid with scorn? It appears this crew is unhappy that you helped Valtara join us.
Not typically, but I mean, I don't know. I've run into assholes, but 4. I said that out loud without any context.
Yeah, as Skarn turns and looks at you.
Hey, how's it going?
Roll a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Okay. And 8. Spiky teeth.
You just beat him by 2 points. They
Oh,
would
yeah.
they would have made you spend 50
What?
I gave 50.
It's their boat.
extra.
I
Oh.
was gonna say it's their boat.
Yeah, it's their bow, and you're making fun of them.
Forgot about the asshole tax. it
Yeah, the
turns out.
asshole tax. All right. Finally, Captain Blake now turns to Valtara and all the other rich folk.
Or Misha.
And
Yes, Voltara, the rich one.
oh yeah, I apologize, Micha. Sorry.
You
It's
good?
an ensemble.
Don't worry, dude. Keeping all this shit straight, it's frustrating.
This,
I get it.
this is 2.5 pages of names. Okay.
I don't even think I know that many names in my head.
It's a big boat.
They head over to Micha and collect their 1,000, knowing that the 3 folks who are willing to pay it are now taking the suite. The captain now turns to everyone else after collecting all their money, though you do take notice that they have a little bit of ire with the fact that there's a child on board,
Okay.
and the fact that the child is sick.
It should be a little less sick now. I gave it some.
No, it is. Oh, no, it
Yeah.
is. It is, but
It's
ju-
still.
you
yeah, I
you
know.
cured its fever, but this thing's still like coughing and shit. Like it's just a bad time.
It's a baby.
It's a baby, and babies are fussy, and the fact that this is a smuggling operation. A baby is a very, very big
Giveaway.
wild card.
Never tried to smuggle a baby, but I imagine that'll be difficult.
The crew seems somewhat tense. I feel perhaps they've taken on a bigger crew than they perhaps expected.
Valtara kind of just like mutters to you, I don't believe it's the crew's size. It's just that this is a bit of a underhanded operation that they're running. We're not supposed to be doing this.
Are we criminals?
Are we the baddies?
That depends. How do you feel about the law?
When you do you say, well, since you said that you have rapport spore going on, Cleva turns and looks at you.
No. What does she say?
She doesn't. She hears that word and she turns and looks at you, being that she's the executioner who kills criminals.
That's good. Well, I suppose Micha wouldn't bring us along if it was to be something untoward, and Cleva's here, and she deals in criminals. So I suppose if these are crimes, they're permissible in some way, shape, or form.
She just like smirks and like shrugs. She doesn't care.
Just a very naive mushroom man.
Yeah, she's just laughing at how you're treating this. Like, I've sentenced people who act just like you for smaller crimes.
That may comfort me. I'm still not sure I fully grasp the scope of your comments.
Valtara kind of just like pats you on the shoulder. Just be hungry or dead. Yes.
I certainly don't want to be one of those things today.
All right. So with that, unless you guys want to speak to any of the crew at this point or ask any questions that you feel is important, we can go ahead and move on to getting everyone onto the ship.
That works for me.
I'm good.
You're good?
McGill has no issues with that.
All right. So with little hesitation, they kind of just like collect everyone and take them out towards the docks. They get you onto the ship. They try to do it like, again, they're doing this under the cloak of midnight, and you're actually watching as there's a bunch, like, there's a lot of dead shrimp mafioso in town right now. They are far too common. They're not giving you guys attention, but they're clearly out in the open, so clearly there's some kind of like little help ensuing here. They're making sure that none of any higher authorities are like, what are these folks doing? Why are they getting on a boat?
Right, they're giving us cover.
Yeah. With that, you guys are stowed onto the ship. It is not a Vorpal ship, but it's a decommissioned schooner. So you guys are unfortunately not going to be getting a lot of the cabin suites. That's for the crew and for the people who paid for extra. You guys, along with all the other folks who only paid 25, are getting put down into the cargo hold. There is a when you head downstairs, there are 2 floors. There are 2 decks of cargo. They are going to stick you guys, well, not you guys, the rest of you, like a good portion of the people who came on before you guys are going to be up in the first floor. You guys are stuck on the bottom floor.
Cool. The dankest part.
yeah.
That'll be the quickest to flood.
Yeah.
Yep. So how this works is that they have a pulley system that they will tell you guys when it's time for you to get up or move. However, they have an entire pulley system that removes the wall to the side and opens it. So you guys get to stay in the secret, like, in that little secret area.
It's like a hidden compartment, basically, behind a false wall.
Yeah, there's a false wall behind what looks like an amalgam of crates and shipment.
Okay.
There is actual shipment on this ship, however. A lot of it on the ship looks like materials, a lot of like adventuring packs, or a lot of like packs that are made for a general store. Though there is some extra stuff you can take a look at, because there's a couple of boxes that almost smell like a very fine powder, like it's very aromatic. Or along with that, there's some food, there's some fruit and vegetables that have been stored and put away into packages. However, there are bits and pieces that look like some crates are going to what looks like a bard college.
Okay.
Since you guys are behind those crates, you can roll an investigation check if you so desire to see if there's anything special about them.
I'm gonna try to look for any specific like company labels or anything like that, like who might be sending that stuff out. You said perception or investigation?
Investigation, please.
Investigation. That is a 13.
Okay. You see the Fine Day Boardwalk Company logo.
Yay! On which one specifically?
There is a big box that has a bunch of the bard stuff inside of it. A lot of it looks like consumable packs used for entertainment, so like a circus or whatnot, or a play. there's like powdered wigs, there's fake guns, there's like retractable swords and daggers. There's a couple of blood packets in there. There's a jacket that has a tearaway hole that almost looks like it's supposed to be where a gunshot is supposed to go. So a lot of like prop stuff for that.
Now, how much of all of these things do they have? Like, if I say wanted to take one of these blood packs, would they notice? Like, is there enough there that a 1 or 2 missing discrepancy would be noticed and filed?
I will say this. They do tell you, the crew does tell you, Riplo and Skarn kind of like take everyone aside and just go, listen, there's not a lot of merchandise here, and a lot of it is a front, but some of it is actually going somewhere, so we would very much appreciate, we take inventory, don't take anything from the stuff that you're hiding behind.
No sticky fingers on this ship.
They tell you they take inventory, so you're going to be on this trip for 3 days, so they will be checking inventory, and if you take something, there will be issues.
Wake will respect that.
Chromagil got a 12 in investigation. He's just looking to see if anything out here seems unusual or out of the ordinary for what he understands as ships, which is not a whole lot.
So you've never been on a ship before?
That's correct.
The ground is shaking, almost like it's in a constant earthquake.
All right.
And you look outside, and there's water, nothing but water, and it's very close to the window. The window is barricaded, so obviously it's not going to come inside unless you open the window. But that would be a very stupid idea because these are windows in hidden compartments, so you're probably going to get like a half submerged, half like a surface level of view.
Chromagil is just going to try and keep his balance on this not so sure footing after being a man who's only stumbled around in forests and perhaps dirty roads and that kind of thing. So this is just going to be an experience for him. He's just kind of drinking this all in as just kind of again, he's in tourist mode right now. This is how these people travel. How fascinating and bizarre.
They also take with them some pigeons, some seagulls that are sitting up in the rafters. There's a couple of rats that scurry by and a couple of roaches here and there.
This place is its own ecosystem. And it travels. Incredible.
There are, remember that Yith symbol?
Yes.
There are a couple of very tiny trilobites that are actually walking across the deck of the hidden compartment.
I just kind of point them out. Are these look familiar to anyone else?
That would be a nature check for everyone. Valtara's there, so she could do it.
What'd that land on? Is that
3.
I think that's a 5. That's a 5.
Oh yeah, it's 5.
5? Then that would be 4.
Woof.
For being a sea guy.
I have only traveled on the cleanest ships and or in the water itself.
Fair enough.
Tell me more about those snails that kept getting on the boat you used to work on.
The cleanest ships sometimes get infested by vampire snails.
Valtara actually turns and looks at you with a little bit of, like, ire.
What? I think they were called, what was it? Omen snails? No, that was Grammy. Torpedo snails?
Yes, I've done studies on torpedo snails. I've actually used them to see if they were a way to actually purge blotch off of draconic kind.
Were they?
They actually had some kind of healing properties, but they don't actually work the way we hope to intend them to use for.
It's probably vampirism.
No, we were able to stunt that. We had clerics who assisted with that.
That's good. You ever
So-
heard of the Ashdrakes?
Oh, let me roll a history for her.
Does she?
Does she? Well, with a history of +7. I'm sorry, no, with a +10 because it doesn't add on top of this. So she has a history of 27. She knows all about the Ashdrakes, even all the shit you don't know about.
I will have to show you my... I got a nat 20 when I was figuring them out, remember?
I know.
I know them.
Hey, man.
I have fan fiction. That nat 20 is what got me there.
She knows all about that fan fiction, even though you didn't publish it. How did that happen?
She's been following your fanfic.
Sometimes I put it out in a bottle in the ocean, and I let the world have it.
Wait, you're
How did it get all the way to the fucking north
I
side?
don't know how the ocean flows.
How the fuck did it get to the Isle of Dragon? That's a fucking 3-month ride.
Currents?
Maybe Pabs Robbie stole it, and he was like, "I like these," and they flew away.
You're Drake Scribe 2222?
Drake Scribe Shell.
Fucking hell. She knows about the ash drakes, and she knows that they have made one visit to the island of Dragon once before. They have gone to multiple islands. They dare not venture out to Gast Island because they know that's part of their treaty to not mess with the homeland where most of the monster bullshit comes from.
I knew that part, but I didn't know they made it to the Dragon Island. I'm writing this down fervently.
Yes, they actually assisted most of my kind taking out a void dragon.
Void Dragon?
Yes, it was a very dark and very strange time. It almost escaped from a realm gate. But with their assistance, they helped us in pushing it back through the gate itself.
That's so cool.
Our realm gate was one that took us to, I believe it was, oh dear, Udoth? A land where most of my kind actually reside from as their originator point.
Wake's just frantically writing.
So yeah, so the race of the Sauron are not native to Kelpie, however they are native to Udoth.
Right. But anyway, on with these trilobites that we were
Yeah.
trying to study.
Yeah, well hey, we're learning shit, it's fine.
Yeah.
The trilobites, they're probably about the size of a chihuahua. There's like
bigger
only,
than I thought.
There's only 2 or 3 of them. They're kind of like horseshoe crabs in a way. They're not really bothering anyone so much as they're just like hanging out, eating algae and like any smaller creatures that kind of just like run past them.
Free meal if need.
Chroma Gill just points out, they remind me of the tattoos a lot of the crew has.
So are they like sacred? Should I not eat them?
They don't believe they're sacred, but you do have. Did you guys pick up the Yith Scarab? I believe that was you. Yes.
No, I couldn't afford it.
Oh, you couldn't afford
It
it.
was too expensive.
Well, that's what based on that, that's what it reminds you of. It reminds you of the Yith Scarab.
Okay.
So these creatures might be some kind of like, good luck favor on the ship or something, especially for those who follow these Yith creatures.
I'll do my best not to eat them then. I will get hungry though.
Riplo insists upon you that you will be fed. You will not be fed the best meals, but you will be fed. You will be given fresh water and food 2 times a day.
Don't worry, nobody can compare to Grammy's cooking anyway.
Chromagil, you look outside, there's an old woman, like a flash of lightning strikes, and you see an old woman pressed up against the glass for a hot second.
The outside world is fun. He doesn't mention it to anyone else. He just assumes this is a common thing. That if he would sound ridiculous asking if it was out of the ordinary.
Alrighty.
I'm sorry.
Though Mr. Skarn does request you, they need to at least store 2 other people down here along with you guys. Since you are all the latecomers to this, do you have any discrepancies against any race of any people who have joined in as the
Anybody
commoners?
racist?
Well, let me tell you about my feelings about those goddamn. No.
Let me tell you about those dwarves. They just kick you off the boat.
Oh, I see. With your little stubby legs, try it again.
You know they have low center of gravity, right?
I know.
They are within ball punching range. You don't want this.
And their arms are big.
I found some of those Underdark mushroom people a little unbecoming. However, I don't find any of them so disturbing that I couldn't share such a space with them for at least a trip.
Valtar just looks over at you. I don't believe any of the people who are riding with us are Funglets, dear.
Good.
Meanwhile, Wake.
In that case, there will be no problems from me. Continue staring out the window, fascinated.
There's
It's a slow turn to the window.
a bloater fish just like moseys by.
Just points at it. He just kind of trails it with his finger. Doesn't really say much, but just he's entertaining himself
It
at this
unhinges his jaw like a Pez dispenser, but you hear no noise as it floats by.
He has no words. He's absorbing all of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you've never been in the ocean.
Yeah, this is all like just really wild to him. That they're like birds, but they use puddles. But they're very big puddles that everyone lives in. That's
Puddle birds.
his range
Puddle
of
birds, yes.
understanding.
Man, I can't wait for you to fucking discover parrots. I can't understand why I feel so much ire towards these.
I'm unsure if this creature understands me or is just playfully mimicking.
Any discrepancies from you? Because they're trying to at least store 2 people down here, and while they're trying to be nice and be like, all right, who do you not care for? Who are you racist towards? Or who are you guys racist towards? Because that is a actual fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's fantasy. That xenophobia is a real fucking thing.
None of
Looking
us
at
are
you, elves.
None of us are elves here, is what I was gonna say.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. No one's high elves, right?
Yeah, no one's a high elf, so we're fine.
No one's a drow either, right? Because if you're a spider, oh boy, you have a new best friend.
If you're a spider, you have to tell me, otherwise it's entrapment.
Otherwise, I want to become a spider too. How do I do this?
Tell me your ways.
Speak to me.
All right, so I'm going to roll to see who they decide to stick with you on this scenario. Roll a 1d6.
I love the idea of this crew coming down and just be like, look, it's going to be faster if you just tell us everyone you're racist against rather than we tell you who we're thinking of bringing.
They're going to stick you with the old retired Ledgermain dwarf, Byford Kardak.
Damn it.
The metal man.
And they're also going to stick you with... They're going to stick you with... I'm sorry, I'm getting my shit... Oh, Whittle Sykes. They're actually going to stick you with Sykes.
Wasn't he part of the crew?
Yes.
Huh.
He's part of the crew, but he also needs passage, so he's taking off from the crew at this point.
Okay.
This is his shore leave.
Gotcha.
All right, and with that, you guys are going to have to tell me how you decide you're going to go to sleep at night, because it is now midnight. It's about time for you guys to get rest, but with the boat rocking like very, very hard, and the fact that the water is pushing up against the wall, you could feel like water dripping on top of you. It's gonna be a little bit of a bumpy ride.
Sounds comfier to me than anything, but I was actually going to use the net that I have and try to find 2 anchor points within this area that we're in to try to make like a makeshift hammock with it.
You could do so by setting up your netting near the wall. Just know that when they open the wall, you might be flung out of the hammock.
Are we at the like very back end of the ship?
Yes.
Then could I do this with the like corner of the ship that we're at?
The corner's a little too far away to make that hammock stretch. So it's like, it's a box. It's a box end.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you would thereby take the hammock and say stretch it across whatever corner it could stretch across, rather than the ones. That
I
couldn't
will
reach.
allow it if you roll me a. Roll me a survival check.
Survival. All right. One of the things I'm pretty all right at, and that is a 24 with an 18. On
You
the
set it up
die.
with no problem. You've been on a ship before. This is no fucking problem.
Night.
What about you two?
With the moving ship, that is the part that makes Chromagil the most uncomfortable in any sort of resting situation. So what he's going to try and do, I know there was like kind of there's actual cargo, then fake cargo, then our false wall. Are there any objects in this like heavier objects that he could maybe try and like stack up just to give him like something to anchor himself against? So like if the ship is moving, he has something somewhat heavy and stable.
There are a couple of crates that are nailed down to the floor so it's like meant to catch something, but it's also there to, if someone wanted like some cargo that was precious enough that they wanted to keep it still, that's the crate you would put it into. But Valtara has already claimed it.
Okay. If that's the case, then he is going to try and find just another corner to try and just nestle himself in and just get tightly packed in somewhere.
There are 3 corners at this point. You have one at the very edge where the door opens next to all the fake cargo. There's the side with the real cargo. You could be next to the crate that Valtara is in, but you would be up against all the actual materials that are on the wall. Mm-hmm. Or you would take the other side that Wake did not take.
I would say that I could potentially get this hammock up high enough that somebody could be below me, or is the ceiling too low?
The ceiling's too low.
Okay.
I'll go next to the box that Voltara is next to. He'll just be like, I'll stick near the people who know me, just in case there's anyone who would be uncomfortable asking a mushroom man to move or something.
Okay, you nestle yourself between another crate that kind of moves a little bit side to side.
Okay.
There are a few like knickknacks and whatnot that kind of jangle when you knack your head to the back of it. I need you to roll me a survival check with disadvantage.
Okay. Ooh, nat 1.
Natural wonders.
Was almost a 6, which would have been pretty good with my bonus still.
Yeah, so you guys watch as Chromagil kind of just like is sitting there on the floor, but then over the course of the night you'll just hear like as he's rolling down one side and rolls back the other. But you have no idea what he's thinking right now because he's
Trying to do whatever his people do that is the equivalent of sleep, which is just kind of a yeah, just a placid emptying your mind and just letting the world exist around you. But usually that means you're anchored to your, roots on the ground.
Yeah.
So it's a little tough.
So unfortunately, you do get all your benefits for, resting.
Mm-hmm.
You get a long rest. However, you do take a point of exhaustion.
Okay.
So when you wake up the next day, you will still have a point of exhaustion.
Okay.
Morgan, what are we doing?
I think Morgan's gonna claim the corner next to the door. He's gonna take off his red coat and kind of bunch it up like a pillow and just sleep kind of sitting against the corner. Just like that.
Okay, unfortunately, that's the corner where he's been flopping about, so I need you to make a deck save.
Deck save? Oh boy.
In your sleep.
Of course. That is an 8.
Mm-hmm. All right. You are jostled in your sleep every once in a great while as this giant cap just like thumps its way right on top of you, just barely missing you, enough that it keeps you awake at night, not obtaining an entire full rest. However, you do get the benefits of getting sleep, but you do also get a point of exhaustion.
Okay.
Morgan, sorry.
It's okay.
You guys wake up in the morning and fucking there are like Chromagil's covered in trilobites on his cap.
I've missed the ocean.
The old man fashioned himself a. The old man and the sea elf both fashioned themselves a hammock on one side.
It's the sequel to The Old Man in the Sea.
They pretty much did the same thing you did by making a hammock. This is not their first ride ever before, so they're very accustomed to the ocean. They unfortunately were roused by the fact that he kept knocking about every once in a great while too.
Sorry.
Just like wondering, like, holy crap, is like what's everyone else upstairs having to deal with this? What are the people in first class having to deal with? Hey,
Welcome to the limbo deck.
yep. So you guys wake up. It is now 9 o'clock. They kind of like rouse you guys awake as they push the door open. Another deck save from you.
Of course. Ooh, 21.
It's like, not this shit again, and you get up. Yeah, you like just grab the door and open it yourself. I got it. So they will allow you guys to reconvene up on the first deck. They will not let you go up topside unless ordered to by the captain. Mm-hmm. So you can reconvene with everyone else at this point. You're up in the much larger and more open space deck. It's way less claustrophobic up here. This area, they have another compartment where the door opens up, just like they have for below deck, but it's way more cramped because you guys were the last to take up residence here.
Yeah.
It is now currently 9 o'clock in the morning. You guys have been given your very meager rations of a couple of bits of bread and maybe a little like dollop of water, unless you want to reach into your own rations. It's not enough to sustain you for the day.
I was gonna say, unless you want to pay for an upgrade.
Well, Riplo does you actually do watch as the kobold and the other deckhand are actually asking the other people, like, we could offer you more food, for a price.
Do any of these windows on this deck open?
Yes, they do.
And it's not immediately under the water?
No, it is not.
All right. Wake's going fishing. I mean, I still have some leftover food, but...
As you open the window, and they see it's not big enough for you to get through very quickly. Like, you'd have to kind of finesse yourself through it.
I'm just going to use my fishing pole.
Oh.
Probably be a little easier that
Yeah,
way.
because I was going to say, like...
How you getting back on?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Skarn was going to, like, walk up to the window and just go, what do you think you're doing?
Getting food.
I see. Well, if you wish to do so, then I'm not going to stop you. I was just worried you were going to jump off ship. I mean...
Here's what... I'm done.
I'm out of here.
So,
I'm pretty sure Wake could keep pace with this ship if he needed to.
right, but you're out in open water.
Yeah,
And
don't really
you know
want
how
that.
dangerous open water has been for the past couple of weeks.
Yup.
So yeah, I will grant you the chance to roll a survival check.
All right. I'm going to take some of my... let's see... My remaining Displacer Beast tentacle, I'm going to cut off a haunch, like a little piece of it, and use it as bait. Just... Look. Survival. Survival, right?
Yes.
All right. That is a 17.
17. Something catches,
All right.
and you start pulling it up. It is a pup blacktip reef shark.
Oh, hi, little guy. Stab! And food. Why?
So you pretty much have yourself at least rations for 3 people at this point.
Food's on.
Gromagil just stumbles over, not really sure how he's gonna feed himself in this situation because there's not exactly nutrient-rich soil for him to dig himself into.
You and Valtara, because she's just looking at that food just like, oh,
You can have my share of bread.
if you wouldn't mind. She takes it. However, remember, she is a large person. She requires times 4 the amount of food
She
at this
requires
point.
quite a
I
bit of
don't
food.
have times 4 bread.
And she has no money. Oh well.
That's rough.
Yep.
Hold on.
I am a consummate carnivore.
So she will eat her bread. She will eat your loaf of bread. However, that does not sustain her because she needs 2 more pieces of actual rations that size to work. And this is for the next 2 days. So Valtara might go a little starving if this continues this way.
Morgan's gonna offer his loaf of bread.
Okay. With 1 more piece, she would be able to sustain it. I'm going to see if she has anything she's willing to part as trade for this.
Wake's just gonna go about carving this shark into edible bits.
Save
and
me the fin.
I'm the one that caught it.
I don't know why she does, but she has a box of thieves' tools that she's willing to part ways for 50 gold.
Hooray, starting gear.
Yeah.
So she offers them that, and they give her enough bread for her to actually survive for the 1 day.
Man, if you just use those tools properly, you'd be able to steal all the food you need.
Yes, the giant Triceratops is gonna go stealing.
I just imagine her with like a Sly Cooper-esque bandit mask just trying to break into a safe full of bread.
I just imagine her with a ski mask on her head, just like, you'll never see me. They'll never know I was here.
So like Murray from Sly Cooper.
Yeah.
I just see her trying to pick up a very fragile Fabergé egg with those elephant toe, hand, feet, fingers, and then just gently just cracking it with every slight move.
Oh, no!
Is there anywhere I can cook this shark?
No, that's up to you to find out.
Well, don't really want to start a fire down here. I mean, Wake can eat it raw, but...
All right, so what about you two? So now that that's out of the way, you gave her your loaf of bread, so unless you could find some other food.
I can mulch up whatever the left of the cartilage and bones are, and then you can just stand in it.
Sure, Gromagil hears that and is down. He's
in the plate.
I've never had seafood. Sure.
I get as much of it.
I have no idea if this will work, but that's what he'll attempt along with his bread.
Whatever along with it, and then just I'll allow him to blend up whatever amount he wants and mulch it.
Well, at that point, then I need you two to roll me a survival check with disadvantage, but you already take disadvantage because you're at exhaustion.
Great.
Both of wait.
Both of them.
Oh, them survival
Yeah.
disadvantage. Okay.
You got yourself food.
And sleep.
I'm giving him some of the shark.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
But
even a small shark can feed too.
yeah,
17 on my survival roll.
survival. All right. Yeah, you kind of just like take a little bit of a surface level of nutrition out of it, enough to sustain you, but you know that this will not last.
Wait a minute.
I look forward to us being on solid land so I can get better nutrients, but this will serve. Thank you, Wake.
No problem.
Okay, so now we are up to our little gnome couple, the Deep Roots, as Ripto gives them a Riplo. I apologize. I know I just said the fucking name.
I was about to say the villain from Spyro.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I don't play Spyro, so I forget that that's a fucking thing. Riplo will offer each of them a piece of bread, but does not offer the child anything. And then just walks away. You can see that this invokes the ire of Mr. Deeproot, Marlowe, who is now cutting off a piece of his own food to make sure that his daughter and his wife eat. Mr. Mr. Kardak, the dwarf who is resting with you guys, rations himself pretty well, and with a survival check of not that great, he unfortunately uses up all of his rations, but he's able to stave off hunger for the night. Mr. Sykes eats his rations with no problem. Cleva, she does not need to eat twice her weight, unlike Valtara. She eats her food fine, and she's she's happy with her station right now. Miss Feloon, the water genasi, will consume her food and use up all of her rations, so she's fine. And Bliss, the tiefling, she does not appear to be eating. Oh, and there is one more person I forgot to mention as well. Mr. Manning Holger, the sea elf, who is dressed in priest attire.
Right.
He is not eating as well. Like they have their rations, they just refuse
Just
to
not
eat.
eating.
Mr. Holger actually offers his food to the infant, and starts going off on a diatribe to them about Kelpie, which Marlowe just looks so pissed off about the whole station of what's going on right now. He's just like, look, just say your piece so we can move on and have some peace and quiet. Thank you for offering to assist my family, but we really are not in the mood to be preached about this.
We just want to get out of here.
Yeah, we just want this to be done with. But Mr. Holger respects that, though he kind of just he backs off slowly and kind of warbles his way over back to his station and starts beginning to mutter and pray to himself.
You said there was someone else who wasn't eating their food?
That would be Bliss, the tiefling dancer.
All right, Chromagill's gonna head over there.
You kind of just mosey your way over to Bliss. She looks up at you as she's strumming her lute. Can I help you, dear?
Yes, I noticed you weren't eating your rations. Is there a reason?
Oh, why? Were you looking to have some?
Well, so some of my friends, I have a very large friend, he points towards Valtara. She actually needs more sustenance than most, from what I understand, and it seems that this ship might not be able to accommodate her. I was wondering if you weren't going to be eating any of yours anyway, perhaps she could use it.
I'd be willing to give it all for 10. That's the actual price of this food.
I'm sorry, 10 what?
10 gold.
Oh, money! Oh, I understand. I didn't realize it was that sort of transaction. But...
Well, I mean, it's a lot cheaper than what they're selling on here, dear.
That is true, but were you not planning on using it anyway?
No, of course not. I brought my own food.
Chromagill is at a loss for a... Well, but this... this has no value to you. Why do you demand payment for it?
It's a trade, dear. I'm not gonna give away something for free. If I gave something away for free, I wouldn't have made it this far in life.
Oh, I understand. I apologize. The world I come from is quite different from yours. He starts.
Do you want to roll an insight check to see if she's trying to fleece you?
Sure. Gonna see if this is is this one of those scams I've heard so much about? 8.
By looking at her, she's not trying to pull you over. She's just trying to make a little bit of pocket change at this. She's not going to budge from this, but she's also not telling you, "Hey, pay me this exorbitant amount of money for this one piece of bread." That's stupid. She even knows that.
He starts getting the gold out from him. I understand. I apologize. It seems a life of choices like these have led you to be able to do such things. So here you are.
I could have paid for the suite, but I chose to at least keep some money with me. When we get to South Zealous, it'll come in much handy.
Oh, so you're saving your money and building your reserves. I understand. A forward thinker you are. Quite admirable indeed.
Thank you, dear. She just looks over you, just for a mushroom, you're. Well, I'd imagine that you don't know much of the customs. How are you adapting to being on a boat? You don't seem like the type to go out sailing.
Oh, my moment of rest over the last night has not been fruitful. I must admit, this ship is a tad more volatile than my usual sleeping arrangements. However, I do find it all very interesting, and I'm learning quite a bit about not only the different cultures of these people, but the strange life forms that exist out in this giant water. Did you know that there are creatures, kind of holds his arms out, this big that people can catch?
Tell me, dear, what do you know of a place called Barnacle Bay?
I've heard the name and heard tales that it seems to be... I was told that if I wished to go there, I should ask someone and see how they responded.
Oh, someone was trying to pull a fast one on you, dear. You don't want to go to Barnacle Bay.
Why not?
There is a creature there, almost as big as the continent of Las Aranas itself, that sleeps underneath the seas.
Well,
It eats any ship that goes near it. Some say it takes the form of a giant shark that was once of the living, but that was centuries ago.
And it just... A creature that massive lives in this one spot?
Indeed. Or at least that's what the tales are. And ships disappear when they go to Barnacle Bay, so it must be true.
Oh, then you're right. No one would want to go there. I understand now the jest that was played on me. Thank you for this information. I may have found myself in a very, very awkward social faux pas were it not for you.
She kind of laughs at you and starts she looks over your form and then just starts thinking to herself. And then she just pulls out her lute and starts regaling the tales of the naive mushroom. She's making a song about you.
Is this me?
She nods her head.
I've never had a song written about me before. This is all so new. I'm going to take this food to my friend, but after this, I would love to hear more of your music.
I'm gonna roll something for her to see if she actually inspires you. Nah,
it's not inspirational.
It's enough to put a smile on your face, but not enough to remember to relieve you of your exhaustion.
Okay.
This is such a new concept to you that you're not grasping it fully, but you are getting into it.
I'm just this sounds fun.
Yep.
But with that, he'll kind of politely nod as she is noodling on her lute, so he can go and give his friend some food.
Mm-hmm. So everyone here now has a chance to at least talk with your fellow cabin mates at this point. I pretty much explained to you what everyone's doing at this point. This is still early in the morning breakfast. If you go ahead, do you want to roll initiative to see who gets to go first, though?
Sure. Wake is mostly just kind of minding his own business here, trying to figure out how to preserve this shark, if not eat it. Just raw, basically. That's a natural one.
He's nice.
Mm.
I have a 10 in initiative.
A 9.
Grant, so
Mine's pretty simple. I'm pretty much gonna stick with Loot Tiefling Girl and just be hanging out with her and seeing what things she can tell me.
Cleva
since
gets
I've-
jealous and just like sits at the wall, like listening in as well. She wanted to hang out with you today. That was her deal.
Well, if she was to come up and say something, he would be, join us. We would love to have more people. If he, hold on. Actually, I'm gonna see if he notices her just sitting there.
You can't unnotice her. She's the fucking biggest thing apart from Valtara on this ship.
Well, then that makes this easy. He'll go, I'm loving this song about me. You should write one about my other friend, Cleva, Scary Axe.
She turns and looks over towards you as she just now she doesn't notice, but like now that the attention has been brought onto her, she just like walks over. Yes, please. I'd love to hear a song about me.
Just claps. He's
All right, I'll make this easier. Wake will hang out with them as well, walking over, just chewing on some raw shark.
I can't figure out how to preserve it, so I'm just going, hey, how's it going?
I found a musician. I've never had a song. Wait, have you ever had a song written about you? I just had a song written about me.
I don't think so.
Well, I can improvise one, sweetheart. I just need a little bit of information to go on.
Like what?
Like anything interesting you've had in the past, in the past, or something you feel that is relevant to a song.
Well, let's see. My family was fished to extinction. I was raised on an island, and all of
She kind of
my
like puts her
family was
she puts her
murdered.
finger to your mouth. A happy thought, dear.
Oh,
He loves to fish. He was just doing it earlier.
A fish who fishes. I think I can make a song about that.
that works.
But Cleva kind of just like slams her head. No, it was my turn.
Oh, sorry.
She explains that her hobbies are dispensing justice to criminals. So the
Real
tiefling girl,
Batman figure.
yeah, the tiefling girl kind of just like shakes her head, just like, no, I could still work with that in some regard, as long as it brings you happiness. She's gonna roll a performance check. Man, with a nat 20, everyone's getting into it. Everyone's getting into the tales of how this girl stopped an entire smuggling ring of pirates and brought justice to them by cleaving their heads clean off.
Well, that's going to be an interesting crowd for this one.
Yeah. At least for your group.
Those criminals.
Yeah, kill the smugglers!
So far, no one on the deck is actually like here. There's probably like you're far off in the backside that no one's gonna hear this if they're all the way in the front. And the only person down here is Riplo and Mr. Skarn, and they're all the way up to the front, so they're not even paying attention to you. They're just making sure you're not going up deck.
Okay.
Cleva is enthralled with this, that she was not getting a lot of good sleep last night. With that nat 20, she loses her exhaustion, so she's all kinds of, like, happy and just elated, and she's, like, grabs you by the shoulder and just, Chromagill, and just starts, like, making, as one lyric of the chorus goes by, she, like, gets in, she's, like, making you get in on the song as well. Even though it's kind of strange how... You know, the spores only went so far.
Nah, man. He's going to go ahead and attempt to perform with her and dance, but he's also exhausted, so this could go very poorly, and probably will. That's 5.
5. Yeah, you're just like you goth kid dance. Let's be real.
See Chromagill flailing his arms.
I was thinking more of this. Bob your head and blaze.
Just Chromagill doing a little bit. I'm dancing. I feel the rhythm. Hello, fellow children.
She'll regale you a tale like of someone catching a large fish.
Neat. I like the part where they got a big fish.
You'd have to be there. It was a way more interesting song if you were there in person.
With an 18, she grants you you feel a little bit of pep from the song. It's the melody. The melody is fine. Her playing is fine. It's just that, you know, she's making up a song on the fly, so it's gonna have a little bit of hiccups here and there. But the music doesn't sway you away from that. So if there was any like case of you not feeling refreshed, it would have been brought back at this point. There's a little bit of a morale boost in you from this.
Huh. I guess I could go fishing again.
I mean, your next action will have advantage.
Yay! I'm going fishing again.
So yeah, that basically was just everyone getting, like, everyone's now just joining in, having a good time, who's standing over there. Cleva kind of just, like, smiles, like, knowing that now she's, like, has a little bit of pep in her step. Ah, good, that shark that was out in the distance last night was bashing up against the side of the boat. I'm very glad that it wasn't, She just, like, regales you about how, hey, there was a shark out in the water, and it kind of just kept hitting onto the boat, and it kept making noise. We were kind of hoping that it wouldn't bash into the side of the ship.
Oh, I spent most of the night tumbling around as the waves hit us, so I hadn't noticed.
Roll a insight check to see if that was you.
18.
18? Based on the way she's claiming that the waves were so turbulent and the way that you were flopping around, that makes a little bit of sense.
It did seem like a pretty rough sea last night, but it was also my first time trying to sleep on a boat, so
It must have been a nightmare then, as she says, scratching her head.
perhaps. All I know is I was just rolling around. I believe I bumped into Morgan. Again, I'm sorry for that.
It's fine.
Bliss kind of just looks up at you and goes, "Wait a minute. I'm sorry. This might be completely rude of me to ask, but do you have dreams and nightmares?" Existential crisis mode. Let's fucking go.
Oh man.
Would you even know what those are?
Do I even have-
Roll me a fucking history check with disadvantage.
All right, sure.
What is a nightmare?
That is an 8.
You have no concept of dread, nightmares, or dreaming.
Must be nice.
You have goals and aspirations, but you've never had visions that they describe to you during your slumber.
My dream is to make sure nature lives in harmony whenever I'm involved. Is that what you mean?
That sounds like an actual goal, dear. I'm meaning, like, if you... I'm certain you sleep, yes?
I like to empty my mind and rest.
You're at least entering a trance, then. A dream is when you start having visions or... like, just pictures or emotions that you've been feeling that surge into actual, like, physical form in your mind. That's only happens while you are slumbering.
He ponders for a second. Hold on. I'm gonna see how impulsive and stupid he is. All right. He's over 10 on intelligence on that roll, so he's not gonna just do this. But he kind of produces some spores in his hands. If I shower people with these, they tend to start seeing things. Is that what you mean? I've never done it to myself, if that's what you're asking.
Cleva kind of just, like, curls your hand on top of, like, curls your fist, puts it to your chest. No, that's something else. That actually sounds like a pretty good way to get a nice high off from some fringe weed.
Well,
And you know what fringe weed is. It is an actual herb that just, like, douses a person's mind to go into a very relaxed state. And humans have been known to pick and harvest it to make a drug out of it.
It's nothing compared to hit.
Oh yeah, I understand what that is, but you're saying there's a process that for you that's natural that occurs?
Well, yes, we sleep and our minds create visions for us.
Kind of just looks to the room. And you all do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, even Cleva just goes, "I dreamed I killed someone last night. Well, as much as I could. It was that nightmare with the shark and whatnot."
What kind?
Let me roll a history check to see if she knows.
As the conversation moves away, Chromagil just kind of just thinks to himself like, have I been wasting all this time not dreaming?
What have I been doing all this time? She doesn't know what kind of shark it is, but it is a moderately sized one that looks like it could make a huge dent into the side of the ship. Based on the size that she's giving you, you could think that it's at least the size of a bull shark.
Okay. It's an impressive bull shark.
She does tell you that the shark is a little bit more spiny than she's used to, but that might just be a little bit of flavor from the dream and not being able to sleep. She does know, like, she 100% knows it's a shark. It's just that when it broke the surface, it had way more quills than a shark should.
I mean, like any.
I was gonna say having one.
She doesn't. She's just like, eh.
Sure.
She's seen spiny sharks. She's been to a zoo. She's seen zebra sharks. Not zebra sharks. What are those? Horn sharks. Sorry.
Ah.
I apologize. The tiny ones. The tiny ones
Gotcha.
And
yeah.
these were spinier than that?
Yeah. It reminded her of those kind of spines, but it had way more, and it was huge.
All right, as long as it wasn't a vampire shark, I'm pretty sure that one's dead by now.
There's such a... She, like, looks at you with a big smirk, just like, there's such a thing, as she's holding her axe.
There was and may be still, but maybe not. I don't know. We never really saw it after we left.
I wonder if there's vampire myconids. Just kind of thinks for a second.
Roll a nature check with advantage, so that would mean you would even out.
No. Well then, that was 18.
18? There is such a thing.
Oh.
There are myconids that drain sustenance from decomposed and or living creatures, but they have to attach and grow on the creature. They have to be left unattended.
Whew. Sounds despicable. Just thinking about it is reminding him of them.
So you guys pretty much are now engrossed in conversation. You're pretty much just spending time over by Bliss, who is just making music for you guys. I'm gonna roll one more performance check for her to see if she fixes anything. Yeah, with an 18, your exhaustion is relieved.
Just me? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
No one else had exhaustion apart from you and Cleva.
Morgan did.
I did.
Yeah, but you're not in that conversation. You're not
he's
in that
hanging out with
conversation,
the-
so
yeah.
he
He's not
doesn't get
hanging
the
out with the
benefit.
music.
So, since you guys pretty much did that, any exhaustion was taken away, you got a little bit more information. We're pretty much in like the, hey, interact with the crew kind of mode at this point.
Yeah, I got advantage on my next roll. I just have that noted.
Yep. Morgan, what are you doing?
Let me see here. I think Morgan is going to kind of stretch his legs and kind of walk around the permitted area.
Okay.
Since he was sleeping basically in a fetal position all night.
All right, you decide that stretching your legs is a little bit more important. You get some blood pumping back into your veins from doing so.
Ooh.
You're still a little exhausted from everything, so after a while, you kind of have to pace yourself and also catch yourself from the ship rocking back and forth. You are over by where the actual cargo is, but once again, the kobold and the human are still like eyeing you, making sure that you're not getting any funny ideas. So anything you do, they will notice. You are over by the actual real cargo. This one actually contains fruits, vegetables, and bread, proving that they have the food to feed you guys. They're just not giving it to you.
Okay, he's going to kind of finish his lap around the deck and actually check on... Actually going to check on the deep roots. Just kind of walk by and see how they're doing.
Alrighty, Mr. Deeproot has finally gotten Mr. Holger to get away from him. He is just rip-roaring pissed that they're being treated this way, especially with the fact that their infant is still sick. He's kind of checking her head. Her fever's not as terrible because of you working your magic on that. But again, they can't really pinpoint what her disease is. And not really anyone's down here to assist with that because Micha, who's the only person who could, is up on the suite deck.
Okay. Morgan's just gonna just calmly approach. Let me see. Calmly approach Marlowe. How's the wee one doing?
Well, the fact that she almost had to starve for today and we have to mulch up her food. She doesn't seem any worse for wear. Her cough is still a little bit of a hazard, but for the most part, she seems like she's doing well. And my wife, unfortunately, was unable to at least get some very good rest. What with us moving at the deadest of hours and the rocking of the boat, and with someone constantly claiming. So he turns and looks over at Holger, and someone kept muttering over on their side of the room, not shutting up about some grand sea creature. It was a little difficult to go to sleep at night.
Marlowe, is it?
Aye.
I have no use for this. Pulls out my bottle of Igberry milk. Something for the wee one. I have no need for it.
So now they have 2 bottles of it.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, well, how much do I owe you? Because the shark had offered me one. The merfolk had offered me one as well. Your charity is greatly appreciated, but I obviously can't have this great of a boon without something in return. I don't know how much I could be of use to you. I'm a carpenter by trade, and my wife is merely a housewife taking care of the little one. Back in the day, she used to be a gem cutter. She has a little bit of her talents left on her, and we've actually been selling what's left of her stock to make some ends meet to at least make it this far. But I know there are some gems that she's not willing to part with.
I don't really need anything material from you, Marlowe, or from the missus. If you're so hell-bent on offering me anything, if I need any assistance, I'll let you know.
He kind of just like calms himself, and he gives one. Now that you've has 2 vials of the stuff, he gives the 1 vial over to his wife, to which she starts putting it all together to make it into a drink for the child to drink as well. Well, if nothing else, this will make this trip a whole lot easier for the small one, and brings a lot of weight off my shoulder. I thank you. I don't know what else to say but that.
It's quite all right. I nearly died in combat once, and I've lost too many good men. Some of them were fathers, mothers.
Hey, Morgan, you're talking about us?
Shut up. You'll get your time. This just doesn't seem right.
Well, this technically isn't my first time ever taking this trip before. Just not with the missus before. I tried to make a better life over on the other side of the canal. I've done some horrible things in my youth, and settling down was my way of trying to redeem myself.
I see.
My crimes are not massive, but in the long term, they could do some damage. I have built faulty fortifications for a ridiculous price before.
I see.
Not exactly a massive crime, and he turns and looks over at their group as he looks over at Cleva, but don't tell the executioner that.
I was gonna say, I love the idea of you guys having like this dark, serious conversation, and like just down the ship is like, and now it's a song about a big fish. Like, just, let's go.
We've all made mistakes when we were young, Marlowe. That's what got me into the military in the first place.
What got you into there in the first place then, friend?
Let's just say I had a bit of a temper.
Why do you keep grasping your morning star, friend?
It's a tick. It's a nervous tick.
You like see as he actually like kind of like stands up like in between you and his wife when you do that.
It's just a nervous tick.
I guess I can understand that. Roll a persuasion check.
Oh boy. That is a 13.
He'll understand.
I was gonna say, good, I had a backup plan.
Kill them! They must never know!
Silence the child!
It's a tick!
No witnesses!
It's all a tick.
Morgan will nod and regroup with everyone else.
Okay. So you guys pretty much are now. You guys can decide how you would let. You spoke to everyone, so everyone's now a little bit more comfortable with you, or those who you have spoken to before. At this point, I need you guys to decide how you would like to bide your time when we reach nightfall.
Wake's going fishing again.
Well, before that, I was gonna ask. Morgan's gonna ask Wake if he knows anything
sure.
about a sea creature. It's like, so the Deep Roots were talking about their neighbor. Kind of points at the sea elf, Polyman. Talking about
them Kelpie.
Know anything about great sea creature?
Yo.
I mean,
You walked into that.
that's fair.
Every time I look in a mirror, what do you need to know?
Just like the 1 second, Wake has like a font pompadour wig on his head.
Hey.
Well, I'd assume you'd have some connection to Kelpie. Maybe you would know anything that requires a all-night. Prayer?
Not either a history or a religion check with advantage, because you actually know this religion.
This does not circumvent my advantage roll that I got for my for the song, does it?
You can choose to use it.
I'm just going to go with a normal roll then.
Okay.
You said history or religion?
Yes.
I have
And you do still just
bonuses in
naturally have
neither.
Advantage on this one since it's
Yeah,
Kelpie,
since
so you already
it's
know.
Kelpie
okay.
related, you have advantage.
Just in general. Gotcha.
Yeah.
General.
This wasn't gonna invoke your actual other advantage roll.
All right, that's a 15.
15. You've heard that there are prayers of creatures that take humanoid form, but often can swim out into the seas in great herds, that are messengers of Kelpie. It's very hard for you to remember what they are, like specifically in great detail, but you have heard they're like either human and or seal in some regard.
My master used to tell me about these beings that could be people, but then also turn into an entirely different animal in the water. Not like what I do, but like something completely different, and apparently they're emissaries of Kelpie. I've never seen one, and I don't know if he ever actually saw one. He was also a bit of the... But
It's a very common sailor story to keep faith.
it's a common folk tale. I mean, I don't know. I've traveled all over the seas, in them or on them, and I've never seen one, so...
It was just something that piqued my curiosity, being that he was praying to, I guess, this messenger all night.
Well, I mean, he's a religious guy. I used to travel with a guy that prayed to all the gods every night. He had a hell of a bedtime ritual.
Uh-huh.
It took him a while.
He only got like 4 hours of sleep each night. The poor idiot.
Constant exhaustion, that kid.
Yep. Why do you think he was so haggard and very weak in combat? Apart from his magic.
All right. Good talk.
All right, so at this point, I need you guys to decide what you're going to do until nightfall.
Mike was gonna fish a bit more, see if he could scrounge up some more food, and then figure out a way to preserve it a bit better.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a survival check.
I'll take this one with advantage.
Okay, so you're going to mark your advantage with this one?
Yeah, I'll use my advantage with this one.
Okay.
And that's a nat 20.
Nat 20.
I'll take it.
For the next couple of hours, I'm going to say like maybe 3 or 4 hours, you're able to catch at least 12 more rations of food. However, you have no way to preserve them. Though Valtara has been missing this whole time. She tried to go back to sleep before, and she's now rising awake to try and just like hammer that exhaustion out of her.
I actually had an idea on how to preserve it, but I'm just going to need to find some sort of metal, basically just like a dish, something made out of metal.
Valtara was actually going to spend her time looking over the inventory that was on here. She really didn't want to talk to anyone, but she was curious what exactly was this ship holstering off to past the canal, because the idea that saboteurs are a thing kind of like resonated with her for quite some time, because her being out on the sea, this is a common thing that happened to her because that's how her ship was taken apart. She was attacked at night, and then because all the equipment they had on there was research for a bunch of medical purposes.
Then Wake would have probably stumbled upon her eventually looking for some sort of metal bowl or metal disc or metal something.
Yeah, so I'm going to roll for her to see if she finds anything interesting. Nah, that exhaustion's going to fucking kick her ass. Yeah, it is. She rolled a 5. She ain't finding shit.
All right. Well, Wake continues to search around. I'll roll whenever I need to for something like that.
Okay, I'll get to you in a second. Let me just go back to everyone else.
No problem. I'm still fishing.
All right.
Chroma Gill would probably be more fascinated by just staring out windows and looking at the sea. And if there are any people who seem like grizzled sea folk, he might hit them up for stories.
Well, that would be Holger.
Holger?
I'm not sorry. That would either be Holger, who is the Sea Elf Zealot. He keeps talking about Kelpie, and since that was talked about, that's some sea stories right there.
Yep.
Or you could talk to Byford Kardak, who is the retired Ledger Main officer.
He's going to go. He's going to go talk to. What was the sea elf's name again? Sorry.
The
Holger?
Sea Elf is Manning Holger.
Holger. Okay, then yeah, he'll go talk to him. I talked to the retired guy last time.
Yeah. So you walking over to him. So just explain to me like what exactly you want to talk to him about.
Salutations. Hello. Hi. I'd heard you talking about I'm sorry. My name is Chroma Gill. I've been traveling with my companions, learning all about the world around me because I haven't left my forest. And
Before you
Hey,
start
just-
your conversation, the moment you get near him, he doesn't look at you, but he stands directly to his feet, like unnervingly fast as well when he does so, and then his face slowly pans to look at you, and then you can continue your sentence.
oh, hi. There you are. So I've been traveling. I've been traveling with my companions, learning about many different facets of the world, and you seem just in love with talking about your god, and I would love to learn more about this Kelpie.
Are you shitting me right now?
It's just
No, he's staring at him. His eyes dilate. And his irises dilate, and his eye color kind of turns from like a light blue to a darker blue, and he opens his mouth. Very well, son. What might you wish to learn?
Well, some of our neighbors seemed concerned that you were praying all night, and I just wanted to be sure. Are we? Kind of like looks around cautiously. I've never been on a ship before. You seem to know your way around these things. Are we safe?
Oh, son, you are concerned with safety.
Well, I've always understood prayers to be asking the gods to protect you, or for some sort of protection from the outside world. I was hoping that if there was such a need for you to pray consistently throughout the night, we must have been in some horrible danger.
I do not know if we were in such danger, but a gut feeling inside my soul told me that I must at least pray for our safety. I asked Kelpie for guidance, and I asked upon her messengers to keep our vessel safe. And I believe that my words were guided by her very messengers themselves, the Silky, off to tell the goddess to please spare our vessel any harm.
Could do a quick history check on the Silky.
Disadvantage. You have no fucking idea what this is.
And then that one's gonna secure that, just in case there was any chance.
Nope. The Selkie are a brand new fucking thing you've never heard of in your life.
This Selkie, you say? What purpose do they serve? I've never heard of such a creature.
Oh, well, I can regale you the story of what they are.
I love stories. He just kind of sits down.
He tells you of stories of humans who can transform into seals and deliver messages from what's going on the surface world to their goddess. Like, when I mean turn into seals, it's beautiful women who sit on the shoreline and they're covered in what looks like pelts of a seal. Mm-hmm. And then he describes to you what a seal is because obviously you have no fucking frame of reference.
A seal, right.
So think he goes like, what's a fine way to explain this to you? Think a dog snake that swims.
He is picturing like a kind of a long snake body and then just a snout at the end.
But much more rotund, maybe about the size of that dwarf gentleman over there.
He is now just seeing a very fat, long tube with a snout.
Yep. That's about as good as he's going to get for you on that one.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Creatures, women who wear these pelts of these creatures on their bodies, and then when they enter the water, they transform into them, thus allowing them much faster speed to deliver their message.
Looks over at Wake with recognizing the concept of changing while in water. Oh, okay, yes.
Are you a Selkie?
Ah, a marlin.
He looks at him, but he doesn't call out to him to be like, are you one of these? He's able to piece together that he is not.
Barely fitting in the window. Oh God, it's not dead.
Well,
these are
shit.
These are stories, mind you, son. Stories to give one peace of mind. None have ever seen a Selkie before.
Oh, okay. So they're very rarely seen creatures. I understand.
If they exist to begin with, son. But at the same time, stories like these are what give us faith and see that the ocean can also be frightening, but also be comforting at the same time.
Faith reminds me of this concept of dreams I was given, where it's you're seeing or trusting in something that isn't there. Very interesting. Your people's customs about such thoughts and feelings. They intrigue me and confuse me, but I feel I've wasted some of your time, sir. I appreciate you shedding this knowledge with me. I find it very fascinating.
He stares up at you as you're like sitting down, like you were sitting down, and then it slowly pans to him reaching you eye level. It takes him a while. Like, that's the weird thing, is that you notice that it takes him a very good long time, like maybe a 5-second delay, for him to actually turn and look to you very properly. But even though he had that giant bolt of speed to get the fuck up and listen to you,
His reactions seemed off or muddled or weird.
yes. But he is offering you sound advice, and he is speaking to you from the heart. He's not, like, trying to be malicious or anything.
Because of my physiology, sometimes it can take a while for my face to respond to things. You seem to have a bit of a lag when it comes to interacting with me. I wanted to be sure. Are you feeling any discomfort? Am I
Ask
doing
your
something?
god to plug in the modem again.
That's kind of what he's asking, just along the lines. You seem uncomfortable when you have to make such movements. Is that just something your people do, or am I misreading? I'm sorry. I'm trying to pick up on social signals. It's all very new to me.
There's no need to apologize, my son. I am just unfortunate to have these reactions. It is just who I am in nature.
Ah, well, okay. I won't ask you
do
to.
You want to roll anything against that?
He won't ask him to explain anything further. He's just taking. People are different.
Yeah, he's pretty much just telling you that's just like his own social tick.
Well, I understand, and thank you for sharing with me. Again, I just wish to learn as much as I can, as to best keep everyone balanced and to not offend.
If you wish to speak to me again, do not hesitate to ask. I am readily available and willing.
Well, thank you. I'll keep that in mind. He kind of just saunters off, just off to learn more things.
Takes him 5 seconds to turn and look at you.
As his eyes are slowly smiling.
What are you doing with your time?
Okay. Let me go look at the list of passengers here. I'm gonna pay a visit to Mr. Kardak. Good old Byford.
All right, Byford's kind of just like sitting there, taking a very long pipe and just having a very good hearty toke, and reading a small book.
I join him in the talk with my own pipe.
Excellent. If you're looking to be sharing my book with you, you're sadly mistaken, son.
Oh, no need. No need. Mr. Kardak, is it?
Aye, that'd be me. And you're Mr. Strong. I heard the introductions before.
I forgive my obtrusive eyes, but your injury makes me think you were part of the armed forces.
Aye, lad, I used to work for the Legerdemain itself. 2 days from retirement before me arm fell off.
Morgan shows him his token.
He like squints and looks at it, adjusts his glasses. What are you paying me for?
It was worth a shot.
Sorry, lad. The old eyes ain't all that perceptive as they used to be. He does have giant fucking huge glasses, by the way.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I just thought one man in the military and to another man in the military might enjoy some company.
He holds his stubby hands out for you to actually give him the coin. Investigation check. Much better. I don't know the brand, son, but I do know you were some kind of covert op.
Aye.
The Legerdemain had many have splintered off in that direction. A lot of folks wanting to learn what's going on in the inner workings just outside of the naval reach. Maybe those wanting to go to Gast Isle to see why this whole entire treaty of ours was broken and why the dragons to the north kept migrating down this way. He's opening up to you.
Funny.
That is some fucking hot bullshit that no normal person's supposed to know.
I'm gonna take a mental note of that and open up to him as well. It's funny you should mention Gast Isle. That was where my operatives were. That's where I was.
You poor bastards. How'd you even make it out alive?
I ask myself that every day. I lost all my men. Elrin and Ulfric.
My condolences, lad. Must have been a hard mission for you.
It was a suicide mission, to be quite frank.
Then how are you back here, then?
I honestly don't know. Last thing I remember was being on the verge of death with my squadron. Everything went dark, and I could have sworn I heard a strange voice, and I woke up with the divine in the Isle of the Divine Folk before it went to hell. Next thing you know, I ended up in Wright. I had to make some money and survive, because for all I know, the Navy knows me dead.
Well, lad, you seem to be in luck, because we're heading over towards South Zealous. Maybe you could find some kind of record there and reignite yourself, or reunite yourself
Morgan
with
kind of
the Ledgermane.
Morgan glances over to Chromagil and everyone. That'd be nice, but I think I found my second wind.
Well, good on you then. Couldn't quite find mine. After I lost this. Me good arm.
Damn shame.
Well, that's what you get when you summon fiends and whatnot. They start coming in and making all kinds of trouble. And creatures with far more greater power than you could ever comprehend start coming in your way. And you gotta make some judgment calls, and losing me arm was the fastest judgment call to make sure that most of me men didn't die.
Well, I can sympathize. I've shared my share of scars. Gently shows the breastplate.
He looks down. By my beard, how has Vecker not caught you yet?
As far as I'm concerned, maybe it's his doing.
Don't go poking around that with the holy man over there. He might lose his lid. He might jump overboard thinking that you're some kind of ghost or something.
Good call. Excuse me a moment.
Aye, as you were. He goes back into his book.
Morgan's gonna go to the hidden compartment and sit down and let go of the Necrostar. All right, fellas.
Your chest feels so much more full of like some kind of ethereal energy, as if feels like there's some like you have to throw up, but not like it's feeling the force of having to throw up in your chest, like your lungs just got pushed in,
Dry heaves.
and you feel both their spirits realign right on your shoulders like a sitting devil and angel.
How do you do, fellas? It's been a while.
2 days, Morgan.
I needed some quiet.
2
Elrin. I
days.
needed some quiet, Elrin.
Oh, you had enough.
Why do you think I let go?
Why did you let go then? Why did you? I can't do fucking.
I know.
I can't do Teddy from Bob's Burgers.
I'm sorry. Oh, well, why did you let go of the thing, Morgan? I saw someone from the Ledgermane. It made me think about the good old days when we were still alive.
So you're gonna spend the next couple of hours talking with these two.
And doing the ritual, the spiritualist ritual, to actually channel Ulfric, the spirit of shame, into me.
Well, now you have an overwhelming feeling of shame.
All right, buddy. It's your time to shine. Oh, I suppose so. Oh.
Okay. We are now moving into nighttime of the first day. They come down to give everyone their meager rations. Once again, poor old Valtara and Chromagil kind of have to think of something else to do, or else they're going to end up having a point of exhaustion from starvation.
Wake still needs to find that metal pan or something.
Roll an investigation check, but actually before you go ahead and do that, that's fine.
Gotcha. Done. That is a 15.
15. You find one absolutely no problem. But the
Awesome.
problem now is that you have eyes watching you. The guards are watching what you're doing, so if you taking something will be seen by them. If you want to do this, however, it will be a sleight of hand check.
Oh, I was just gonna borrow it. I'm not stealing it for good.
Oh, okay. If you wanted to steal it, it would have been sleight of
yeah,
hand.
not stealing. Can I use this?
They allow it,
Cool.
so long as you put it back.
No problem. Basically, I've been spending the good majority of the day after I caught all the 12 rations of fish. I'm going to be skinning them, turning them into flanks, and now I'm going to be constructing an apparatus with my fishing wire and finding a semi-ventilated area to smoke this shit.
Okay, roll me an investigation check.
Come on, be good. You're dumb as fuck, Wake. Ooh, nice. 17.
17. Let me double check something on Valtara. She unfortunately does not have a spell or some kind of way to do that. However,
I just need space by a window, but
well, I meant like she would have helped you with like the heating and whatnot. So
I can do the heating.
yeah, so you could use a window. That's not a problem. So they're pretty much the guards are now watching you, but at the same time, as long as you're keeping in control of the situation, you'll be fine. And with that survival check, you're doing it just fine.
Yeah, I'm just using my fishing line to kind of like let that stuff hang it over the pot, tie it down. so
You
it just
actually
hangs
watch
over
as a little, like, not a cane, but like a little bit of a metal claw kind of like taps you on the shoulder. Now you string it up this way. That's how you get it nice and ripe.
I hang it up a little. I hang it up a little better, and I start taking some wood chips out of. Let's see, what was I going to turn into wood chips again? Ah, yes, my torches. I'm going to sacrifice one torch to make some wood chips.
Okay. So you chop up that. You use the flint and kindle to go ahead and get that fire just going a tiny bit. And with Byford actually taking an interest in this, your food comes out a little bit better than what you first originated. You now have food that can satiate 14 points of rations.
All right, 14 dried fish rations. All right, I will no longer need bread.
And with that yigberry juice that the yigberry milk that they gave to the baby, she no longer needs sustenance to kind of hold herself because the yigberry sustained her enough as it is. So they can comfortably eat their food with no problem. Valtara, though, like I said, still has a problem of she gets one piece, but she needs 3 to survive.
Well, she already has mine.
Okay.
So she will now be getting 2 regularly from.
Yes. At this point, she will
wait.
now get 2.
Chromagil will consume his bread. I need to just figure out a canon way that he just consumes things, just so I am sure of it.
I'm pretty sure you just mulch shit and just like absorb it into you or some shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Squeezes it and it's
just
just
you
gone.
like for like 15 minutes. It's you making a balled fist around the food as it just enters into your bloodstream.
You can have all my fish bones if you want.
I don't think that would give sustenance.
All right.
He'll attempt at least.
I will.
Roll a survival check.
Ooh, hold on. Actually, I will walk up like with all my discarded fish bones and stuff. I will walk up to the crew.
Hey, if you're looking for something to make some stew with or some stock at least, would you be able to trade some of this for some bread?
Persuasion check.
That is that a 19 minus 1, 18.
Fresh food for bread, they'll absolutely do that.
All right. Fish bones for bread. We'll do it all day.
Fuck yeah. How many bits of fish are you willing to give them?
I'm willing to give them like all the fish bones that I have, like all the bones.
Oh no, they don't want fish bones. They want.
Oh, I was
they want
offer-
fish.
I was
Yeah.
trading bones.
Yeah,
I was trading bones to make stock out of.
With that 17 though, they'll give it to the cook. They'll offer you at least 4 pieces of rations at that.
All right, I will give those to Valtara.
Okay, so she is now capable of eating and has an extra piece.
Yeah. Oh, she has the one that she got, then the 4 extra that I would give her, and the one that I would give her. So she has 2 additional pieces, I think.
Exactly.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Cool.
Okay, so with that, Bliss kind of like tries to just regale everyone with a little bit more music, trying to keep everyone a little bit more satiated. With all this trade you guys have been doing, most of the people here are pretty happy, considering the fact that there are giant trilobites the size of the Deep Root's child just walking around and causing mayhem.
So are those like not fair game or like asking the crew?
The crew just like turn and look at you and just shrug. There's not much out of the one human looks to you and goes, "There's not much out of them if you think about it. They're mostly just bone and cartilage."
I guess I've never eaten one, so
It'll do you no good eating them. Last folks here tried to eat one. Didn't turn out too well.
are they dead?
Oh no, of course not. They're not dead. Just had to take them up topside for some medical checking. One of the poor bastards tried to swallow one of its legs whole, and it ended up poking through their throat.
Oh. Probably need to
Take some special cooking it does to eat those.
yeah, it seems that way.
And unfortunately, old Cole doesn't know how to cook them either.
Is that your
That's our cook.
yeah, that's your cook? I think I already had him down.
Alrighty.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you didn't? Yardley Cold?
Oh yeah, never mind, I did.
So yeah, those things running around, you can attempt to eat them, but you're not going to get much nourishment out of them unless you know how to cook them properly.
Well, I think I got my food issues covered.
With that, you guys can attempt to try to go to sleep again.
I got my hammock.
Trying to find a better place to sleep with an investigation of 7. Anything seeming like a better place and maybe more stable for
What if Wake were to assist you?
That would give him an advantage roll rather
Okay.
than a normal roll.
Okay, and I have 50 foot of silken rope if we need to attach you to something.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. That investigation was a 14. Is there any sort of post or something that I could perhaps tie myself to just to be perfectly still for my own needs anyway?
There is an open spot where they're supposed to put a metal crate. They're supposed to put a crate on top of that they can nail down. If you could find something that fits on top of that nailing post and then also nail it down as well, you could pretty much do the same thing Valtara is doing.
Okay, so just something heavy to nail to it?
Yeah, something heavy enough to fit you inside and something to nail down.
Ooh, all right. Should I do another investigation check just to look around the
Sure.
ship for something like that? Less good. 8.
8. There is a tarp that you could use to strap yourself down. It probably will do you some good, but not the best amount of good. That's words.
With that,
English.
with that in conjunction with the rope, is there any way that we could kind of tie something down to try and hold it in place?
That can all be well and good. Valtara could have helped you with that if she did not sell her thieves' tools, because she would have been able to nail you down.
Oh yeah, I guess that would have helped.
If you have something that can piston people down, that would be able to work.
Would a burglar's pack work?
It sure fucking would.
All right, I'm gonna help him with my burglar's pack.
All right, roll me a 1d20 plus your proficiency.
I'm the one who kept rolling into you, so if someone would feel invested to help.
16.
16? Yeah. With you finding the tarp and you finding a place to put down and Morgan wanting to make sure that he doesn't get crushed in his sleep tonight.
Yeah.
He will assist you in nailing down the tarp so that you can snuggle yourself in.
It's like a little pocket for the ship that I just slip into, and then we're going to close it.
So you now have a place to sleep without issue.
Just a little mushroom sack in this boat.
Yep.
I'm just gonna do the same. Just do the same thing. Pick a corner, bunch up my jacket to make a pillow, and just.
Okay, roll a survival check.
8.
Okay. I'm gonna roll survival check for Mr. Sykes. He did not make a very good. Nest for himself, and he was kind of missing for most of the night after everyone kind of like settled down. He was not around while everyone else was talking.
Nothing to read into there, I'm sure.
No, of course not. He rolled a 17. He's fine. He's able to find a good place to nestle himself. So he's not going to take a hit of exhaustion. Unfortunately for good old Morgan here, the night is far more turbulent than it was yesterday. And even without the ill effects of Chromagill kind of like tilting in his sleep and just roly-polying on top of you, you feel a lot of thudding from the waves crashing on top of the water. It's right next to your head.
Oh.
It not only does like the force of the waves knocking into you kind of just like lurch you forward every now and again, but the constant noise of the waves right next to your head just gives you the biggest fucking migraine. You unfortunately take another point of exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
You are at 2. Mm-hmm. This is bad.
I know.
This is very bad.
Good morning.
Fuck you.
What? Got up on the wrong. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, I got. Let's go unflap his tarp.
Ah, good. Me muffling myself mentally with our telepathy got the mission message across. Thank you. crawls out of his pouch.
We roll for Valtara. She got some decent sleep. She's not screwed over. So at this point, you're pretty much just going to be spending another couple of days. Not a couple of days. You're going to be spending another couple of hours getting your food. Everyone's like talking now. Everyone's a little bit more open now that we've had some time to like speak to one another. Mr. Sykes, though, and Miss Fayloon have not been chatty or decide not to talk or to take part in any activity socially with anyone. However, Mr. Deeproot once again complains about the thumping noises, more so than usual.
Is there something going on that side of the ship? Like, would I have noticed these at all during
No,
the night?
you remember, you're below them. They're above you.
Which is even more concerning because they're...
Higher from the ocean.
Yeah. Like, where are the sounds coming from?
We have no idea. It's too, like, even though every time I wake up and try to notice it, it comes from a different part of the ship each time. It just sounds like constant scratching and punching against the wood.
Perhaps it's the trilobites running around. Their claws might make a scratching sound as they skitter, and they're of substantial size, and
That's
I
what
don't know what their eyesight's like. They might be bumping into things.
That's exactly what we keep thinking as well, but every time I wake up, there's none in sight. Or at least any I don't see.
They're scurrying little critters. They might just find a nice nook and cranny to hide in.
But,
Is it coming from above?
I don't know where it's coming from.
Because I'm not hearing, like, anything at night. I mean, granted, I'm getting some pretty good sleep down there. I've missed the ocean, but...
My pouch seemed unhindered.
But yeah, Marlowe is unfortunately taking another point of exhaustion. He doesn't look so good. He looks fucking, like, plastered at this point. His wife, however, looks like she's sleeping just fine. Bliss doesn't look like she slept a wink. And neither does Cleva look like she's gotten some sleep. So this is becoming a little bit more of a common thing, and people, every time they ask or talk about it, they also still are having now these like feelings of things just like bumping into them at night and crashing against the ship. To the point where Marlowe looks like he looks like he's ready to just fall over and collapse. He hasn't gotten enough sleep.
Maybe you should take a nap. Like, now, if
This-
possible.
Damn conditions. That would be nice, but I don't mean to sound rude or anything, but I just don't trust anything going on with this trip until me and my wife and my daughter reach land.
Well,
It's just aggravating and frustrating, and I can't take it anymore. I just want my family to be safe.
They may be tight quarters, but I have this pouch if you and your family would like to just huddle together. It might be an option to sleep during the day when things are less turbulent and we're all attentive.
I suppose so. That might be a wise idea. And they they speak to the two guards over at the side to tell them that they want to return to their quarters for the rest of the day. He returns angered. They will not offer him a chance to go into the compartments during the day.
Isn't there a compartment? Oh wait, so they open the back and then they close it.
Yes.
After you leave it. Okay.
They will not offer anyone to go back inside their compartments during the day.
What if I need my net?
Well, if that's the case,
I guess my bag would also be there.
Mm.
that's the case, then if you want, I could stand guard while you rest. I wouldn't let anybody hurt you.
No, it's quite all right. I'm sure I can manage on my own. He like kind of just like goes back to his wife and child and like tries to remain ever vigilant and keep himself awake at this during this whole entire situation.
Marlo.
Hmm.
I thought like you before. If you're not rested and you're not ready, you won't be able to protect them.
Persuasion check. He rolled an 18. He understands where you're coming from, but he's still a little hesitant to do so. Roll a perception check.
My eyes are broken. That is a 6.
Man, you don't even notice this, and I'm gonna see if he notices this. No, he does fucking not.
As far as you know, nothing happens.
Bing!
Okay, what was Bing?
Byford took a metal pan and smashed it over his head so he can go unconscious. There, now the lad can get some sleep.
I probably, like,
Is that how?
I mean, that's not good sleep.
Nah, you're all right. So long as the boy gets himself some sleep. His wife is screaming now at that.
Don't hit her.
What? You take me for a monster, lad.
You just smacked a man with a pan out of nowhere, by the way. I'm just gonna... I'm going to,
Cleva and Bliss are clapping.
I'm going to go carry. I'm going to go carry the man back over to his family and try to assure them that he'll be all right.
Crow McGill goes over and does just a small medical check on his head, make sure the guy's not bleeding or something.
Make sure he doesn't swallow his tongue.
Nat 20 on that med check.
He's fine.
All right.
The guy just needed a little persuasion to go to sleep.
Physical persuasion.
He just got some physical persuasion, and dwarves are known for, brash decisions and making shit go fast.
Mm-hmm.
So he just figured, nah, he'll be fine.
He'll be okay. Just he needs some rest.
Your big dinosaur friend over there looks like she needs some rest too. Might you think she needs some persuasion?
I don't know if you could reach her.
You're right. And then Mrs. Deep Brew kind of just sighs and just like pats him, like nestles his head on top of her lap and just goes, "This wouldn't be the first time something like this has happened that we had to put him to sleep otherwise."
That sounds weird.
I know.
I'm curious, but that's...
Don't put...
He
no,
must be rambunctious.
He's, You should have seen him during his early days when we were dating, and he was quite the fighter, and he has a little bit of a bloodlust to him, where after he takes the first swing, he kind of goes a little too far. So I've probably knocked him out more times than I'd like to count.
Suppose I've been there as well.
She doesn't seem all that, like, super worried about this. She just, like, realized, oh, that's what you were doing. She's just like, I don't think that was a wise idea, but sure, why not? I'll just claim that he went to sleep. Or he just fell asleep because he was too exhausted.
His sea legs finally caught up with him, and he just needed a nap right then and there for no other reason.
Couldn't have said it better, Chromagil.
Bliss begins regaling a song about a very angry gnome, like valiantly fighting for his family, but also just making himself a belligerent mess.
Yeah, like that.
Mr. Holger actually kind of just like stands to his feet. You don't see his legs, by the way. He kind of like George Jetsons his way over from the fucking spaceship. Like he's like almost floating. And then stands right in front of him and begins praying. Places healing word on him. So whatever damage he did take, he would get some energy back.
Just kind of, Chromagill doesn't say anything, but he's just observing, just trying to watch.
All right, so we're at that, and I guess you guys want to occupy your time by just getting rest. Roll me another survival check, everyone, if you're just going to take the rest and try to get your exhaustion out of the way.
I do not have exhaustion.
You do not.
I have been sleepy.
13.
You break out of exhaustion. You
thank
take a
God.
little bit of a nap to find yourself some that missed sleeping time. What about you? You don't have exhaustion.
Yeah,
right?
I don't have
so you're
exhaustion,
fine.
So yeah, so
Okay, we
I'll
are
be
now
hanging out and socializing.
We are now at night part 2. Once again, Miss Fayloon and Mr. Sykes do not wish to partake in any sort of activity. I need everyone to roll me a perception check. I apologize.
Bloop. Nat 20.
18.
10.
During rare intervals of the night, you start hearing like scratching noises, but you do notice that there are the little trilobites scurrying around, so you kind of like don't take it too weird. You're just like, oh, that makes sense with all those legs scattering about. But wait, with that nat 20, you're actually looking at the trilobite, and you notice that scritching noise, and it's not coming from it because it didn't move.
Huh.
It's coming from above you.
I'm gonna hop up and just kind of Jackie Chan my way into the corner and just kind of stick my ear to the ground.
It is coming. It is coming from outside. It's not near a window though, and it's over towards the front of the ship.
And I'm trapped in this box right now. Yes.
No, this is still. You're not going back to sleep right now.
Okay.
This is just before sleeping hours.
I'm gonna sneak out towards the front of the ship and basically quietly motion for my companions who are not exhausted.
Which is everyone at this. Well, no, Valtar is tired as fuck right now. Yeah, poor girl can't fucking handle this. She looks very on edge. Like she's on a ship. The last time she was on a ship, it did not bode well. She lost her entire family. So this whole trip, she's been kind of by herself, just like folding her arms, just trying to like wait patiently for all of this to just go the fuck away.
I think I heard something towards the front of the ship above us.
Oh.
Yeah, scratching, but not like not the same kind of scratching as those little guys. They grow on you. They're kind of cute. All right, none of them had ever done that before I said that. I'm reconsidering it. But, yeah, something up toward the front of the ship. I think we should check it out.
Chromagill just kind of starts heading that way just to...
I mean, he's on. I get.
I follow Chromagill.
All right, well,
Fungus of action.
yep.
He hears a suggestion. He's like, all right, let's see what's up.
Riplo and Mr. Skarn. Mr. Riplo and Mr. Skarn are now watching you as you kind of like meander your way over towards a window, but then keep going. They kind of like step down from their guarding post and walk over to you. Excuse me, what's the matter? Or, I should fix that.
What seems to trouble you?
Well, my companions, they were hearing some unsettling noises in this direction, and I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. I'm able to communicate with some creatures, most others aren't. I was hoping that if it was a situation like that, I'd be of some use.
No need for you to be concerned, sir. It's merely just the anchor. A little bit of its way's unlocked out of its hinge. The anchor's right over here.
And he pats over where you hear the sound.
Insight.
That sounds reasonable.
My insight is a... Do I get... Okay. 17.
I think I'm going to do it as well.
Okay.
11.
Based on what they're talking about and how you're positioned in the deck right now, that makes a little bit of sense. And this being a decommissioned ship, the fact that some things are a little broken and busted, that might make some sense as well.
Would you like anybody to take a look at it? I used to work on a ship.
You don't need to worry yourself, sir, especially the fact that if we have you outside on the surface, and any ship were to pass by, they might think that this whole operation would be a little suspicious, don't you think?
It's late at night. How many ships do you intend to pass right now?
We're trying to make time, sir. We're trying to pass the canal with no problem.
Fair enough.
I slip back away.
I mean, it might give some of the people a bit of comfort knowing that it's not something major, but it's just unfortunately the nature of being on a rickety-ass fucking ship.
Is there a window that's out of their line of sight?
From where they're facing right now would be on the opposite end of the ship.
Cool. I'll start heading that way.
Do you want to do it stealthily?
Yeah, casually. Make it look like I'm not really doing much of nothing.
Chromagill is accepting their explanation as just like, oh, okay. I've never been on a boat. That makes plenty of sense.
Stealth is
What is an anchor?
Stealth is a modified 20.
Yeah, you're kind of like mosey your way over to the other side while they're talking to Chromagill and Morgan, and you look outside the window that's closest to the other end. You can see land like off in the distance.
All right.
Like you see the mountains off to the side that are peeking out over the fog. The waves are kind of crashing a little bit more turbulently this time around. You do notice that there is some netting that hangs over the side, and it looks like it's actually metal meshing that covers over that side.
Wake is going to equip something that he has never had need to use, but has had for the sake of ship combat. I have a climber's kit, so I'm going to put on some climbing claws in order to help me with this effort. And I'm going to pop out the window, hold on to my vest, and see if they're telling the fucking truth.
You can do it, Spider Wake.
You're gonna have to roll me another stealth check
All right.
because you are opening the window.
True enough. Stealth is a 22.
They are the fact that Chromagill is so girthy they can't look around him.
And anyway, this anchor I'm talking about just seems so neat.
All right, roll me an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. I'm always doing this perilous bullshit. That is a 17.
17? Okay. Well, you're able to grasp onto whatever this metal meshing is.
All right.
You climb outside of the window. You are now hanging on top of the metal rigging. This looks like it was meant to cover something, but also is meant to be some kind of net because the metal mesh has little barbed weights that hold it down. But it looks like this thing is so ill pressed and put together that it's actually sliding off as the ship's going forward.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you're kind of like banging on top of it, now recreating the noise.
Okay. All right. You know, if there are three of me, then this makes sense.
I'm just gonna slowly climb. I'm just gonna slowly try to climb up the deck and see if I can like take a look at what he was talking about.
Okay. You are on top of the deck. I need you to roll me you're hanging over the side of the deck. Roll me a perception check.
All right. And for the sake of this, I have my cloak on, so anything from that side would have a harder time seeing me.
Well, there's not a lot of people on this ship. Like the only other, like the two deckhands are below deck, making sure you guys are okay. There's only the people who are upstairs in the cabin suites, the captain himself, and the cook and the first mate.
Gotcha. Perception is a 16.
16? They're not wrong. The anchor is over there on that side. But by the way the ship is rocking and the positioning of the mast, you can't tell if it's the exact position that they said that the anchor was upon. It does look like the chain is a little bit loose, so some of it is unfurled.
Oh, that checks out.
There is a lantern giving light off in the distance, not very close to you, but starting to head your way.
All right. Does it look like it's sentry moving, right?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to climb back down before it gets to me.
Roll acrobatics.
Natural 20 that time.
Okay, you crawl back inside, but now I need you to roll a stealth check to make sure that they don't see you coming back in.
Slippity slide.
Glided in on the wings of an angel, but the angel was really loud.
Well, you don't have to because I just rolled a nat 1.
Okay, I was going to say it's 24. So,
Yep, you shut. Yeah, then pretty much that just all transpires. You pretty much just like you did this whole covert operation in like 5 minutes.
slide my ninja claws off.
Anyway, the anchor, though, it still seems really cool.
Regular Sam Fisher.
Yep. All right, so you return back to everyone else. With that, the guards kind of like tell you,
All right, it's getting close for you to be sleeping. Get back to your quarters.
All right.
so you go back to your quarters.
Yeah, I head back with no argument.
Yep.
All right.
Wake just enjoys the fact that he had some fresh air.
You saw pretty much like when you went out of the ship, you saw that the in the back is where the other suites are, or where the cabins, the captain's quarters is, and the steering is off to the side. So it's like up on a little staircase that the wheel is turning everything else around with it. So the captain has to make some kind of a walking distance to actually get over to the steering wheel, but it does look like the water was not as turbulent, so it was okay to keep the mast going, and no one really had to be manned at it. But for some reason, the waters... you looked off... When you were coming back down, you looked off in the distance, and it did look like it was about to be stormy. And you were nearing the canal, because you're starting to see, like, a whole bunch of other ships, like, just docked off in the distance. So that's also another reason why they're like, hey, maybe you should stay inside, because if someone sees you, this might blow the whole fucking operation.
Yeah. Wake informs everybody that there might be a storm brewing, so batten themselves down extra good tonight.
Oh,
Yep.
boy.
So prepare yourselves, gentlemen, for tonight with that information.
Oh, I'm assuming my pouch is still in working order.
Okay.
Wake is going to attempt to double secure his
Survival.
his net hammock, and he's even going to use his bedroll to kind of like secure himself in there. That is a 18 plus 6, 24. I'm sorry,
Okay.
that's a 16. That's a modified 20.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
Morgan, what are you going to do now that you know that there's going to be a fucking storm coming?
You got room in that pouch, Chromagil?
You can snuggle.
Roll a acrobatics check, both of you.
Oh, boy.
Where's it?
Modified 20.
18.
Quite snug.
Just like, I am in there, and you just kind of sneak in, and you just sort of sink into me a little bit. Just there we go.
And he's holding the Necrostar while
In
doing
the middle
so.
of the night, I just feel,
Oh,
doing.
stop.
I put this right under a leaky spot. I hope you like it.
Water torture.
That's a thing.
Yep.
He's a big spongy marshmallow.
I love getting little drops of water, just one at a time, over the course of a whole night.
Just grab one of his fingers.
Just sleep under his cap.
All right. Because of the storm being so volatile, even though everyone kind of secured themselves, I do need everyone to roll a survival check.
Oh, boy.
Wee.
Valtara actually gets some sleep with a nat 20.
Got an 11.
15.
That is a 15 as well.
With Chromagil being so steadfast and sturdy, you're not jostled around too much, so you're actually able to keep yourself in place. The fact that he's there is being a cushion.
I'm your big teddy bear mushroom.
You're able to survive getting some decent sleep tonight.
Oh, thank God.
With that roll, you kind of like secure yourself to make sure that you're not rocking turbulently back and forth. Okay, since you're closest to the window, I need you to roll me a perception check.
See how light a sleeper wake is. What'd that land on? Is that a perception plus? That's a 9?
9? Okay. You hear something off in the distance while you're sleeping. It almost sounds like a very big thud, but nothing too granular that you're like, oh man, it's just this thumping noise again. It's that stupid fucking anchor.
Go back to bed, Nedra.
Just worry about the fucking, like, the anchor falling off, and then all of a sudden you start hearing faint ringing. Everyone starts hearing faint ringing.
Uh-oh.
You all wake up, and you hear that there's a lot of commotion over where Wake is. There's a lot of thumping and a lot of, like, people walking up on the surface.
The hell?
You are right next to a window if you want to take a look.
Isn't this window basically underwater?
Yes.
I'll
But
take a look outside.
You turn to look outside, and there appears as you look outside, Mr. Skarn's face is looking at you as he's floating out from the water as blood is pouring from him and he slides away into the current. And that's where we'll take a break.
That's not good.
We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the table. I made it.
You did it.
And we're all cut up on those too, so.
Nice.
All right, well,
So Wake's just looking out there.
yeah, the body's gone by that point. You just watch as like a pool of blood is now like just a little bit of red mist is forming.
And which one was this guy?
This was the human deckhand, Simon Skarn.
Hey, that guy that wasn't letting us go up, the one that was hanging out, the kobold,
Oh, yeah. He seemed nice.
he's dead.
What?
Yeah, he just floated by, and there was a lot of blood. I'm gonna get out.
Yeah, Chromagill is going to hop out of that pouch. Don't know how that's going to work with Morgan there, but he is going to be...
We both just scrambled.
Roll acrobatics, both of you.
18.
1.
You somehow elbow him in the face so hard that you're kicking him to stay still while you squirm your way out.
Sorry.
Take your turn. It's fine.
Now you can get out.
I offer my hand to help him out.
Yep, Valtara gets up. Mr. Holger and Mr. Sykes get up.
All right, I'm going to attempt to open this wall that we're faced with.
You grab the wall and you try to pull it open. It is locked. They locked it off the other side.
Great.
There's got to be a mechanism somewhere. Wake's going to look around for it.
Investigation.
15 investigation for me.
8.
Four. Chromagill, you remember that these guys had to pull it out with a latch, but there was something else they did before they actually opened the wall. Almost like there's a little bit of a sliding hatch that they have to pick up and pull out, then they can pull it out all the way.
Try lifting pieces of it up to move them sideways. I think there's some sort of mechanism that locks them in place.
Wake was about to punch the wall.
Oh, sure.
Valtara will do so with an acrobatics, plus with her strength, she can do this with no issue. Well, with her stat. No, with a nat 2, she's still sleepy and groggy. She cannot. She does exactly what you ask to do, but you hear a metal clink as she pulls up and tries to pull out this way. She can't continue the motion of pulling it out from the compartment of the wall, and you hear the metal clink.
Well, that sounded like where it should be.
What kind of a roll do we need to do that one?
Athletics.
I'm okay at those. Athletics is 16.
You find no issue with being able to pull this thing up and pull it to the side, but again, the moment you grab the handle and you pull it out from the wall, it gets out to the point where you can see the wood that separates it from the compartment. Clack. There's something in the way. Something is preventing you from being able to pull it back.
I'm new to these customs, but I don't know when is it appropriate to use force in a situation like this. If a man is dead, I feel like we have extreme situations here.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so where did I hear this clack coming from when I pulled that?
It's from the It's on the opposite side of the wall.
Then I'm going to punch through the thinnest part that I just peeled away from the wall there.
Okay. Roll a athletics check. Jesus.
All right. I focus my chi into my hand, and I punch at the wall. A 13 plus 17.
17.
Whoop-up!
You hear metal snapping off on the other side, almost like you pulled some kind of locking mechanism off it. The door doesn't swing forward, but it kind of like is now rocking back and forth in the slot.
Oh, that should do it. And I grab the handle and I pull.
The wall begins to fall towards you.
Oh, fuck.
Everyone roll a acrobatics check. Dexterity save.
Dex save.
Nat 20.
21.
One of Wake's evasion rings goes off. Dun, 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 dun.
Valtara got herself a. Oh, you poor girl. Oh wait, no, she has a dex bonus to saving. What the fuck?
I rolled a
background.
natural 2, by the way, on that one.
No, that means class.
Oh.
The librarians have a dexterity save in class, so she is the most dexterous triceratops I've ever seen.
They're quick learners.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I get it.
She rolled a 15, so she just makes it before the wall collapses on top of you guys. You actually look as the first mate was coming down to actually let you guys out before the wall collapsed.
Shoddy craftsmanship.
What's happening?
He looks beside himself as he sees the entire cargo kind of like fall off to the side. Morgan, I need you to roll me a perception check real quick.
Okay. Let's see, 13. That's a 14 on perception.
You could have sworn you saw something huddle into one of the crates that was not latched onto the surface of the wall that you were hidden behind. You kind of just pass it off that it might have been a trilobite. The first mate walks up to you all.
All right, a lot of you come upstairs now. There's been a shooting.
Shooting.
Yeah. Someone shot the poor deckhand and kicked him off the side.
Well, that would explain his body that was floating back that way.
He's been floating in there for 5 minutes. We couldn't reach him in time.
Well, that is... Wow, he was down there for a while.
Come on, the lot of you upstairs.
See, this is the part where you should have come and grabbed a merman at some point. But never mind.
I head up.
The Earth Guidance will see you all. The fact that you were down here all gives you a proper alibi. You will not swing for this, but someone upstairs will.
Uh-oh.
Well, this is,
You are all brought to the first floor of the deck. You're not on the deck, you're below. And you watch as everyone else from upstairs kind of like has the three folks who were actually put into the private suites are now brought downstairs with their hands behind their backs in shackles.
Does that include Micha?
Yep.
Points at Micha.
Micha! Hi!
Micha.
We won't just wait.
Yeah, fucking right.
I made you. How are the sweets?
Micha,
How's that 1,000 gold treating you now?
son of a bitch.
Nah, Chromagil holds no ill will. He had no understanding of what it means by I'm not going to buy you guys a sweet.
All right, Miss Fayloon, Nelda Fayloon, Micha, and Teddy Schlorg are brought down in shackles with a couple, the remaining crew, with like the cook and the first mate, with guns behind their backs. Everyone else is brought forward and put like, everyone else was put into the holding cell, the hidden compartment. Everyone was awoken to this. It's been some time. The bells kind of like woke everyone up. They have the doors open, so like the crew comes in with their guns, and they look to everyone.
All right, for a lot of...
Like the captain comes down.
All right, for a lot of you. There's been a murder on this ship.
Sorry.
Do you find this funny, Mr. Strong?
Sorry, Freudian slip. Shut up.
Chromagill just points to the armed guards. I hear it was a shooting. Perhaps we should start with the guns.
I couldn't agree more, Mr. Chromagill. The lot of you who are upstairs on the first floor and the second floor, we will frisk you all for guns.
They take everyone who was upstairs who owned a piece. Unfortunately, that means that Mr. Schlorg, Miss Fayloon, Mr. Schlorg, Miss Fayloon, Mr. Cardax, Mr. Deeproot, and Mr. Holger were all owning a pistol at the time.
Deeproot was packing?
Yep, Deeproot had a flintlock pistol.
He's a daddy.
And Miss Cleva actually had one hidden on her person. In her belongings, anyway. After
She's an executioner.
after they frisked everyone, she had one, but then she like says, that is actually not my pistol. That is from a piece of evidence from my last case. But they pull her off to the side. They relieve her of all of her weapons and put her up against the firing line with everyone else.
Well, wait, no, she wasn't sleeping in the holding place with us. Never mind.
No. At this point, they're just grabbing everyone who has a gun. So they obviously take you and put you to the side. Do you guys have any firearms on you?
Nah, I
Chromagill does not.
sold all my firearms before I re-equip myself for this mission.
Yep, and Valtara is free of this crime because she has a crossbow, and this was exactly a shooting of a pistol.
I
So
have this smoke wand, but I don't believe it fires bullets.
they look to Mr. Kardak, and they see that he was below ship this entire time, but that still doesn't fare well with the fact that he still has a pistol on them. So they ask all of you. They ask for everyone to cooperate in this scenario, even if they are being forced to. They want your weapons. You hand it off, no problem? Mm-hmm. Everyone hands off their weapons, no problem.
You're referring to just the firearms, correct?
Yes, just the firearms. They're taking everyone's firearms and they're checking them off to the side. It would appear that Mr. Deeproot and Mr. Kardax and Mr. Schlorg's pistols were actually set off. And unfortunately, that they were set off. However, everyone else is kind of like starts claiming that they have a safety on. They don't have a they haven't fired their weapon. It's not loaded. They don't load their weapons when they do so. So as of right now, you're free. You're free to go. Yours was not fired, and you were down at the bottom, so you're fine. They give you back your weapon.
Thank you. Because there'd be 3 holes in Scar.
Yeah. Mr. Schlorg is still kept in his shackles. Cleva is put off to the side and is put in shackles. Marlowe is put off in shackles off to the side. Mm-hmm. Micha and Micha and Mr. Holger. Mr. Holger is let go. His weapon doesn't even have any bullets on it. It doesn't appear to have been fired at all. It merely looks like it was just a keepsake. And also, it shares a Yith symbol on it. With that, they kind of put them off to the side. And they look to everyone else.
All right, a lot of you. I need testimonies about what you've heard and what you've seen.
They go over to you, Wake, first.
Well, I've been hearing a unsettling rattling coming from up that way. Mr. Scarn himself said it was probably the anchor. That's pretty much the biggest out of the ordinary thing that I've found this entire trip outside of his body floating outside my window.
All right, that makes sense for you.
They kind of like take your alibi and they put you off to the side. You're fine. You're with everyone else who wasn't like put off to the side with them being shackled.
All right, Mushroom Man, what do you know?
Well, I was asleep in my pouch when the commotion happened, but before that, I too had helped in investigating the rickety anchor situation. I do know, however, that our sea elf friend here was praying for protection, and it seemed that had helped last night. Perhaps something had interrupted him tonight, and misfortune befell us.
Is that so? And how would you know that, considering the fact that he is above here and you are below deck?
Well, I had heard the others talking about it. The deep roots. They had discussed how it had displeased them because it had
The gnomes, you say?
it had prevented them from sleeping.
We will put this into account, Mr. Chromagill. Thank you. Mr. Strong, what do you know?
Same as the other two. It was hard to find a place to sleep, so I had to huddle close to the Mushroom Man for warmth and security.
Last I remember, mushrooms were not the heat-reducing type.
But they are a good anchor. Sorry for the holes.
It's okay. They'll fill in.
All right, you're clean. Your story checks out.
I love this voice. I fucking love this voice. I'm not being a shit. I actually do.
it's a
This
good
was fun.
voice.
It's just drunk Mr. Dink.
You broke my grill? You killed my crew? Douglas, where were you last night? Where were you when Mr. Scarn was shot, Douglas? Look what they did to Tippy.
Wasn't expecting to evoke the name of Tippy.
That's his wife.
I know. Haven't heard that in like 20 years. Caught me off guard.
I know my cartoons. I'm a man of culture, goddammit.
Tippy didn't have a gun, Douglas. As far as you know, she was in politics.
Fucking God. Okay, well, the captain kind of like assess what's going on after taking everyone's account. They put you guys to the side. They keep you in, they don't like close the door, but they keep you in the quarters to make sure that you're not doing anything stupid.
Good call with Wake.
The captain kind of like looks to the rest of you.
All right, well, it suffice to say that the loss of a crew member is all sorts of means for you to swing. The moment we get back to land in any sort of civilization, we'll have you set to the executioners. Funny how one of the executioners themselves seems to be a part of this little mess. Quite ironic if you think about it.
Perhaps. Oh, never mind. He's not gonna say anything.
Well, the moment it still stands, we're out in the middle of the water, so it wouldn't do us any good. We're going to have to detour and send the ship close to the shores of the canal.
If I might interject, isn't that where a bunch of the new pirates are showing up?
It is a little unfortunate and a little frightening to the fact that we have a bunch of people on board who have all kinds of material possessions, especially a schooner who's not supposed to be out in water. It'd be safer if we found port near the shore and close to the canal more than it would be actually porting in town. Then the only closest town would be
Excuse me. Fuck, that voice caught up with me.
the only closest port that we know of is Lagrung territory.
History, I'm guessing?
Yeah, sure.
Nah, that's a 3.
Yeah, you remember what they are. You ate one of their eyes.
Oh, yeah. Even with a 3. Oh, yeah, they don't... I think... Oh, no, their king isn't among us anymore.
I'm on good terms with their.
I'm on good terms with
Former
their king.
king.
Oh, no.
All right. We're gonna keep every single one of you here on this deck. You're welcome to walk about and say and do as you please, but we're going to take you off towards the landmass. I don't want any of you going topside or below while this ship is moving towards the shoreline. Then, and only then, we will begin to pass judgment and find who is guilty of this crime.
So with that, they tell you that the captain's going to go back up topside, and he's going to detour the ship to head towards the canal. What side of the canal you guys are on is unfortunately not available to you at this moment, especially with the ship now turning and heading over towards the canal. However, you are welcome to, with the guards and everyone else still around, the rest of the crew still there, they will allow you to speak to any of the people who they deemed guilty at this point because they're off to the side and shackled. And all their possessions have been stripped. So what good are they to fight back if need be?
Hey, Micha, how's it going?
She looks up at you. Oh, fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. One moment I'm roused from my sleep by someone who sounds like he's gargling marbles in his throat.
Seems to be a common speech impediment around here.
Especially those with that stupid little symbol on their face.
Seems to be a common symbol around here.
And the next thing I know, I had a pistol pointed at my head and told to come downstairs for the fact that I owned a piece.
You didn't do this, did you?
What purpose would I have for killing one of the deckhands?
I have no idea why. I just wanted to make sure. I trust you.
The only thing I've said is that their food was lacking any substance. I'd hardly believe that's worth killing a man over.
I would agree, but many people find different things worth killing over.
It wasn't the cook I killed. If she stops herself. No. It wasn't the cook. I didn't kill.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
If it was okay, he looks to you. If it was me, I would have killed the cook and not the deckhand. Why would I shoot the messenger and not the person who wrote the message?
Oh, what necessity?
I made my own food. Fish chips.
Oh, that's swell and cheery for you, darling. The point being is that I didn't do it.
So did you hear anything going on up there? I mean,
I was asleep.
yeah, but there must have been something going on before that. I mean, we've been here
On this rickety ship with the anchor jutted off to the side and constantly rattling? How could I not hear anything?
I don't imagine much about gunshots, but I must assume they probably aren't that loud, right?
It depends.
You are below deck. It would be very difficult to have heard anyway. That's why that perception check when I asked you for it, he barely was able to scrape by hearing anything.
I heard the body.
Well, you heard the body scrape across the window.
But no, I'm talking about, I mean, we've been on this ship for 3 nights now. I feel like, at least up there, you've been able to get to know these people a bit better. Maybe you know something that's going on.
They keep talking about something called the Yith and more about that silly little protection divine sigils they keep talking about. How the sea is the place where the Yith are born and where they give them guidance to make sure that they take safer waters and pasture.
They don't mention anything about sacrifice or any of these guys saying oh, I don't believe in the Yith. I should kill him.
No, of course not. I spoke ill of fairy tales such as this. They didn't seem angered of it.
Real quick perception. I'm gonna see. Is Wendell Sykes around? Was he taken away? Was he?
Wendell Sykes, I believe.
He's the sea elf guy, right?
Yeah,
I wanna
he
make
is
sure
the sea elf
okay.
who was in the room with you. So he had a piece, but since he was down there with you, his alibi checks out.
Okay. I'm gonna find him since he was talking about keeping us safe with Kelpie and whatnot, and I'm just gonna.
Oh no, that was Manning Holger.
Oh, that was Holger. Okay, sorry.
The other
Then
sea elf.
Then Holger's who I am looking for. I apologize.
Yep.
I just had sea elves written down, and I
He-
took a guess.
Oh no, he wasn't taken away, but he was put to the side.
Okay.
He's under questioning right now because he actually has a gun, but it has he claims it has no value other than sentiment.
Okay. All right. Well, if he's busy being accosted. By
Well, no,
them-
he's there. You can still speak to him.
Okay. Chroma Gill would head up and just be like, "Hello. I just wanted to ask. It seemed that some danger had befallen some crew members. Was there something amiss? Did we do something to upset your god?"
No, my god does not ask for blood in the midst of its ocean unless it was of a natural cause. This was a murder, plain and simple.
Okay. I
Someone-
just
so-
wanted to
one
be
of-
sure we hadn't brought spite upon us.
No, one of this ire was brought down from one of Kelpie's children upon another of Kelpie's children. This was not of the goddess's doing. This was of her kin's doing.
All right.
He looks deeply just like he's saddened by this. He looks fucking like complete. He's not on the verge of tears, but he looks very perturbed by this.
Well, all right. I just am trying to gather as much information as I can to see if we can piece what happened together. Thank you for your time. Just kind
Indeed.
of leaves him to his mourning.
Yeah, he's mourning while he's getting shackled. He's not like stripped down like everyone else, but he has like shackles around his arm, just like, hey, we suspect it's you, so here's a shackle.
And best of luck with all of this.
Don't weep for me, son. I weep for the ocean, and I weep for the messengers to send that poor boy's blood off to the side.
Well, hopefully that happens.
Sharks will probably get it first.
He doesn't seem worried about that at that point. What about you? What are you doing? You had your gun taken away. They looked at it. They actually surmised that the bullet wound was not a 3-pronged shot, so you're clean.
So they were able to examine the body before it fell over?
They were able to find the bullet that came from it.
Oh, okay.
The bullet didn't completely pierce the body. It kind of like hit into it and then fell out as the body fell into the water.
Grazing.
Yeah, it grazed the person, but it knocked them out so hard that they hit their way down on the metal meshing.
Okay.
Wasn't the shot that killed the fall.
Yep.
Let me see.
So was it really a murder at that point? If
More like
Certainly, at least
With
attempted.
with your information that you gave, they counted as a murder.
it's definitely a murder. Yeah.
Let's see.
Perhaps not first degree.
You guys have a couple more questions you can ask before the crew comes down altogether and it takes away any of the people who were put down for major suspects.
I think before that, Morgan's gonna bring in Crow McGill and Wake.
Slorg seems too obvious.
But you know, there is someone else who is obvious. The gnome.
What, like, wouldn't he have been in one of the same compartments as us?
He's the one. Remember, they're not counting anyone from below deck. They're counting from top deck and first floor.
I thought the first floor had the similar like sliding back thing.
It did, but because
They
you
were
guys
above us.
they're above you.
They're close enough, I guess, to where it's plausible that they could be
could have climbed
responsible.
up on
Yeah,
deck
that
or
they
something.
could have done it. So
Not just that, but you've seen how they treat him and the missus.
Yeah.
And I've seen that look before.
His wife did mention he was the violent sort. I don't know if that's necessarily the same as getting in bar fights to shooting a man, but
No, he seems more like just a scrapper. I don't picture him as a murderer.
Although he's definitely going to be their prime suspect. You saw how angry he got at the crew when he just wanted to go back and sleep.
Yep. I think we
Valtar kind of just like rubs her chin, just like he was quite livid for most of the trip. He's unfortunately had a rough time on this ship, making sure that his family is okay, and his own poor degenerating health at that point from exhaustion might have made him a little mad.
There's also one factor that they aren't accounting for. What if the killer threw their gun overboard?
Well, unfortunately, they seem a little too simple about the ways of making sure that they could find evidence, and albeit they're pointing fingers a little too hastily before we reach land, and I believe them wanting to reach land is why they're pointing fingers to keep everyone in some kind of order.
perhaps Skarn was some sort of criminal and Cleva was just doling out the justice that is her job. Though I suppose that'd be easy to clear up right away if that was the case.
You believe he is part of a smuggling ring.
You believe Cleva was the one who did it then? Why would she do so? She has a giant axe, and this was a gunshot.
It's not so much I believe she did it, just that she is a capable suspect.
She's a capable killer.
Just throwing out options more so than
She
accusing.
looks over at Cleva and kind of like shivers. Okay, she is a capable killer, but She seems to have a little bit more honor than just walking up to a man and firing a gun at them.
Absolutely. I trust Cleva didn't do it, just listing possible suspects that they'll be pointing at.
So which ones are
They will come to the mushroom for all the evidence, all the quick pro
I'm
evidence.
just trying to put together the facts.
So which ones again were specifically the ones that there was Slorg, there was
Slorg,
Marlowe,
Slorg,
Micha.
Marlowe. They took away Holger as a suspect. Well, they're going to take away him as a suspect. Cleva, Nelda, and
That's right, the one that we have not spoken to. She was on the
she's a noble.
yeah, she was on the noble deck. That would be why.
And the only other person that they didn't take away at this point was Bliss, Cam, who was the infant because the baby did it.
We all saw that.
I've seen that episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Lamoa, who is the housewife. Wendell Sykes is free of this. Byford is free of this because he was with you guys at that time.
Sorry, I was just asking like which ones were specifically suspects. On
Oh,
this
okay,
one.
suspects. Okay, let me try this again then.
Yeah, the ones
Marlowe
that had
Deeproot,
guns. Yeah.
Manning Holger,
Yep.
Teddy Slorg,
Got him.
Cleva Carciden, I apologize. Nelda Fayloon, Micha Asmint.
All right. So those were the ones that had guns.
Yes.
Okay.
And you had a testimony from Micha.
Do all of the crew have guns?
Yes. Everyone else on the crew has guns. Everyone on the crew is equipped with a piece. The captain, however, the captain and the first mate have blunderbusses with them. They have the better equipment. Or better equipment in quotation marks for what the crew has.
There's one option that we also might not be weighing. If the whole crew had guns, what if somebody was affecting his mind and made him shoot himself? Or something.
You feel this Yith calling might be the case of this?
It might not even be that.
Wake's eyes kind of glance around.
There are lots of magics out there that affect the mind. I know specifically at least one type of magic.
His eyes glance over Bliss.
But who knows what anybody else studies.
Okay. Like I said, you all have one more chance to gather as much testimony as you possibly can from everyone that you have here. I'm giving you one more turn.
There's only one person that we have not talked to ever, I feel like, and that would be Nelda Fayloon.
Fayloon.
Fayloon,
Yep.
sorry.
From what was...
That's my call. Is anybody...
Nothing's really jumping out at me that seems like it might be a possible source. So yeah, I'd
It's either her or I feel like Teddy might have some information being the weapons guy.
True.
So those would probably be the two that are more than likely to be taken away from here that would be good to talk to, in my opinion, unless anybody else has another thought.
like the only, I'm sure he will at least claim he's innocent, but I'd like to just hear from Marlowe
That's
Deeproot
what I
that he
was
wasn't,
thinking.
that he didn't do this.
Yeah.
All right, so you two want to do Marlowe?
I haven't really talked to him at all, so I feel like it would make I'm metagaming this by just bringing this
Right.
up, but Chromagill wouldn't be comfortable going
We
up
would
and
have made
talk to
small talk at night about what we've been through.
well, what we did,
Yeah, what we did today.
but he'd
And
be-
we overhear all of your conversations.
Yeah. But upon hearing about just any sort of other people, I think I would probably say that Chromagill would also be in the Nelda side of this. He would talk to the last person he hasn't spoken with that would be most likely involved.
Okay. So
2v1, so Nelda it is.
everyone roll initiative, or at least you roll initiative and someone else take initiative to see which conversation goes first.
I got a nat 1 again.
Okay.
All right. Well,
That's
then
2 in a night, but you know what, that makes up for
All right.
bigger rolls, I guess.
You two can decide who you want to talk to first.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then let's go with you and me talk to Marlo, and then
Okay.
and he'll talk to Nelda.
Marlo is put in shackles, and he is actually like shackled to the floor so he doesn't move, being a more prime suspect in this regard. You approach him, and he just looks like fucking beside himself. His face is red, like with anger or sadness, you can't tell, but he's just like, he doesn't want this situation to befall right in front of his wife or his daughter, and he's more concerned about them than he is about himself at this point. He looks up to you, and he's just like, he doesn't know what to say at this point.
Marlo, I have an unpleasant question I wish to ask you, and I do not want you to take offense.
How could I possibly not any further than the fact that I'm being brought up for trial as a murderer for something I didn't even do?
Marlo, I trust you. You seem like a good man. Did you do this?
No.
Well, he's got me convinced. Romeo just kind of sits back. Actually, hold on. Insight. 11.
Well, he's got you convinced.
Okay. It's Morgan time. Okay.
Now, Marlo, you gotta understand a little bit why they think it would be you.
Of course they would, because I brought my infant child on here into a smuggling ring to get her out of a quarantined zone where they believe she might also be a quarantine incident.
I need you to talk to me, Marlo. Give me something to work with.
My child needs fresh air. And I know that the tiefling was capable of being able to open locks from another side. She knows Mage Hand. I wanted my daughter to get some fresh air, at least out of that stuffy fucking compartment that they made us sleep in. But that's all I ever asked for, was to at least let my child be able to breathe a little bit more fresh air than being stuck in a place filled with stink and dank, like disgusting mildewy smells.
In the middle of a storm.
Yes, she was coughing.
So you went to see the tiefling.
Yes, she was the only one who knew how to open the door from the outside.
Was she able to?
Yes. But then the moment I let my wife and my daughter go outside, I came right back in and told her to shut the door so no one would know that there were no fingerprints, you know. They're very thorough. They keep checking all the inventory every night. I hear them. You can see them through the cracks of the walls, from the walls of all the inventory, the fake inventory. They're very diligent about their inventory. Part of why I can't sleep, because where I was sleeping at night, I could hear them talking about the inventory over and over and over again. Every hour upon the hour, someone would come down here and talk about it.
Did you hear anything odd about the inventory? Because you know some of it is legitimate and some of it is fake.
I couldn't have cared less. I just wanted to go to sleep. I just couldn't stand them talking right next to my head.
Okay. What do you think, Romagel? Should we talk to the tiefling?
The fact that the door was opened, that people could get out, that does raise more suspicion than I initially had. I figured with them being closed up in that box, that may have more or less counted them out despite their suspicion. But that does make this a little bit more difficult to be convincing. However, I do
I've told you the truth.
I believe you, Marlo. The job is getting everyone else to. I'm just trying to get it. He's being as like calming as he can, but also very clumsy because he does not know tact. But you understand, they'll suspect you even if you're being honest.
Of course they will. Why wouldn't they?
I'm just trying to help.
Then help me get out of this situation as quickly as possible before we reach land and probably sick me to the toads on the island.
Is there anything else you want to tell us?
I can't think of anything else other than the fact that I wish to punch someone in the face because I can't stand this anymore.
But the tiefling stayed behind when she opened the door, correct?
She was waiting outside the door. She's claimed she's done stuff like this before in the past.
Well, maybe she saw someone else leave, if there's someone else to be blamed.
All right. We'll figure something out, Marlo.
Don't you worry, Marlo. We'll do everything we can to figure out who's responsible for this.
Please do. I'm so tired of this. I just want to get my wife and child out of here and have a better life.
It's a shame we couldn't get the body.
All right, Nick.
I walk up to the water genasi who I've never met.
She looks like she's just like aroused. She's been aroused out of her slumber very forcefully. She's in very noble and very regal attire. She looks
aside from the shackles, I guess.
Yeah, aside from the shackles, she was like she was one of the nobles. You don't know what she did because you never really talked to her, and Meecha never spoke about her.
Hey,
Yes.
I'm Wake. I know we met kind of briefly at the Sea Ingot. Noticed that you're kind of in a predicament here. Did you, now, you don't look like the type of person that would go out on deck and shoot a man and kick him into the ocean.
I want to be on the mainland as quickly as possible, and this was the only way I knew how.
Killing a man and kicking him into the ocean?
No, coming on board the Obscura.
Okay, I thought that was about to get really easy. Sorry, wrong foot. So you're trying to get back to land right now.
Of course,
Back on
I'm
the
an
main continent?
I'm an accountant of the first Zealous Kingdom treasury.
Sounds like a very stressful job.
Of course it is. I've been doing nothing but paperwork since this entire time. I made sure to pay 2,000 so they would keep anyone and everyone away from me, apart from just giving me food and water.
And have they followed that?
Of course they have. With the amount of money I've given, they've made sure to at least make some kind of a fuss when it comes to casting a silent spell on my wall.
So you haven't been hearing anything then?
No. I've only gone outside to get some fresh air, but then go vigorously right back inside to get that disgusting sea ocean smell out of my nose.
So in order to, while you were out getting that fresh air, you didn't happen to notice anything odd? Maybe, people acting strange, or...
No, of course not. I've prided myself to make sure that I was not followed or talked to or even spoke, or if I spoke to anyone. My job is stressful enough as it is that if I was to talk to anyone, you know the phrase, slew slips, sink ships. Being as someone of my standard, knowing all the accountants of any one of the high districts of South Zealous, if I was to speak about that, and I am very much, well, now that I'm speaking about it with you, I feel that my job is in jeopardy as it is, but apparently that I need to speak of this to keep myself out of harm's way.
Don't worry about it. I'm in close with the, with Lieutenant Gore and the, Lockwoods.
Well, if that's the case, I don't understand why you, of all people, didn't decide to take the higher routes inside the city.
Well, as you know, not a lot of ships are willing to travel these days.
I think it was the infant's doing.
How so?
The captain is very wary about the idea of bringing something on board that could potentially shut down the entire operation. That child is a quarantine. She's a ticking time bomb, and it would be better to just throw her overboard before we even had a chance to have her infect the city. The plague doctor should have done something about it, but I don't blame her for not wanting to go below deck with the filth.
It's not that bad. It's just a, it's a matter of passage, really. I mean, I made a hammock. It's pretty comfy.
You are of the sea, it makes sense.
So are you. I pointed like...
I don't have to enjoy it, Mr. Scalebound. I don't have to enjoy, even though I am part of the elements itself.
True enough. So the... Did you manage to get enough of your work done while you've been...
You tell me, Mr. Scalebound. With that rickety anchor outside constantly making noise, and the fact that the people up here that don't have any idea how to actually cast a silent spell properly to put the warning outside my door. This whole operation is a snafu.
Been hearing a lot about that anchor. I tried to examine it myself, but it, couldn't get close enough to it.
Why were you trying to go up deck, Mr. Scalebound?
Something about this doesn't seem right. This whole thing, and the fact that there's now a body floating in the water back that way, just I don't know.
She looks like she's getting really hot and bothered and like angry about this whole situation, that she actually like holds her hand up and you watch as a ball of water appears and she kind of like splashes, like spritzes herself with the water.
I do the same. Just minus the spritzing.
I know that trick.
Merfolk are quite capable of harnessing elements of Kelpie. I would assume that that would be the case. And being I am an element of this entire realm, incarnate, I could do the same and then some.
I believe you. Do you have any other neat tricks that you, I mean, you must specialize in something. I mean,
Yes,
obviously
I make
you're
sure
here
the
to defend
economy
yourself.
stays afloat during the times of the onrush. And if I don't return back to South Zealous soon, that will become even more of an issue.
What brought
I govern the war funds.
what brought you away from South Zealous then? Making a trip to Wright?
Indeed. I had a very nice conversation a little bit north of Vesa Bay when it comes to obtaining funds throughout some of the dwarves' mineries to the north in the mountainside. But they were having a displacer beast issue. So that took a little bit longer than expected, and I missed my first charter, thus why I had to aboard the Obscuro.
Well, the Displacer Beast issue should be done for now.
I'm more invested in the idea of getting out of this particular situation, Mr. Scalebound.
And I am doing my damnedest to help you get out of this, but the fact that you are being very combative on every edge here is not being very helpful. Look, if you don't want to stand trial for this sort of thing, I need a solid alibi out of you.
The last time I walked outside was at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, at night yesterday. I immediately went back to my work, and then went to sleep promptly around 9. Hoping that the silence spell would do its job.
I guess you don't know that spell yourself then.
Of course not. The kobolds used the spell, saying he knew how to make glyphs and wards from his days making traps in his hoard.
Well, I'm not sure how much that alibi stands up, although it definitely looks like you're not the prime suspect here, so hopefully you'll be out of this soon enough.
I hope so. Otherwise, the war effort might see some damning issues.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
And that's where we'll stop for tonight.
All right. Well, got a lot of people to talk to and a lot of things to figure out. But before we go for now, we got some fan art, question mark?
Yes.
We got some fan art to look at.
Let me get my, let me get Twitter up real quick. Remember,
Fellas, there's been a murder.
You say people gonna die?
The murder.
all right. Oh, there's a picture that got up there before I was able to fix it. But go ahead. We'll start off. From Brent Adrian.
There's that handsome devil.
Quick doodle I colored this morning of Gilgawake summoning his endless arsenal. I don't know what that is, so.
It's okay. That's a Fate Stay Night thing, I guess. So. See, when I
Thank
was
you, Tyler.
when I was quoting Gilgamesh, I was talking like Final Fantasy Gilgamesh, the one that collects all the weapons.
Those are like
Gotcha.
his store. He shoots weapons out of those orbs.
Oh, okay, so that
Okay.
works too.
It's like a portal.
yeah.
Weapon riffs.
Thank you.
His
I-
infinite storehouse.
Gilgamesh, a man that fucked for 2 years straight.
Huh.
Fun fact. Anyway.
God.
God, that is right. I did read that story.
Yep.
Next up,
In a cave, no rest.
Night Gazer 1011 with Chippywake.
dimples. He's got the dimple wake.
I got dimples because I got little pockets where I put the fish.
Animal crackers in my soup.
He's adorable. I love him. Also, he's ripped for a chibi character.
Yeah, I was gonna say his little scowl and
Packed for
fucking
days.
ripped.
I'm gonna bust your kneecap so hard.
I'm gonna kick you so hard in the face you're gonna wish that these raptor boots weren't there.
God, that's right. He does have raptor boots. Does he still wear those?
I never took them off.
To this day, I never took off my shoes.
The only time he ever takes off his boots is when he needs to dive in the water to be a merman, and then he always goes back and puts them on.
Yeah.
He had to replace his old shoes because he lost them in our
With
first
those
adventure.
raptor boots.
Nice. All right, well, thank you very much. Next up, from Seto Sister.
Yeah!
Perfect.
Hello.
I'm here to hug you. I give great
Snuggle in, Morgan.
My name is Chromagil, and I'm
Angry
your,
baby.
your personal mushroom assistant.
Awesome.
Your personal healthcare fungus.
I love the fucking top crop vest.
Yeah, no, that looks
Yeah.
great. I like the Baymax. I keep blanking on his name. Like kind of his just little basic color scheme of just the little accents all over his limbs. I like
Okay,
it.
in real talk, when I fucking first saw that character design ever, my first fucking thing, the very first thing I ever saw when I saw Baymax, I'm like, why is his face a razor blade?
I guess I can
Okay.
kinda see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that was like the first
And now I
concept
can't
design.
unsee it.
Yeah, now
Just
the
got
first
one
concept
strong
design.
blade right there.
Yeah. Hello, let me hug you. Ah! Thank you very much. Next up,
Oh.
from Venomous Vinny.
Hey.
Who's that handsome man?
giving you the scowl.
Look at me, I'm going from the profile here. This is my good side. This is what's gonna go on my dating profile when I realize Calliope's dead. No!
Your IMDb headshot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that smirk.
Man, I need to play with the idea that there is a fucking, like, a walking camera crew or, like, a production company that gets into films in one of these games one day.
A documentary team. You're not playing as the adventuring party. You're playing as the documentary crew following them.
The chroniclers.
Roll for stealth as they're attacking. Like,
That-
I
that-
gotta get in close with a good shot.
Dude, that fucking sounds like a really cool thing. Like, it's like a 1930s, like, well, the 1840s.
So the Skull Island expedition.
Yeah, Skull Island expedition, but it's a camera crew and the party.
Those poor fuckers on Skull Island.
You
Yep.
may as well be playing a Call of Cthulhu game at that point because none of your characters are supposed to be able to take care of the things you're up against.
Fair. Thank you so much, Venomous Vinny.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, from Doomers CZ. Apparently, this is their interpretation of the flesh pod hornet that I made.
I can see the pods at the bottom there.
Ugh.
That is just. I wouldn't want to run into that thing. As
Well,
someone
Morgan had to eat one.
Who, yeah.
Yep.
Delicious.
Apparently, they don't taste bad.
They don't taste bad, but he's lucky he rolled pretty high on that medicine check because that's the whole skinny of them is that if they inject their venom, so any wrong way of ingesting that venom and your flesh becomes a fucking lotus pod.
Ooh. Icky.
Dude, listen, fear is a very good motivator, and I combine two things I'm afraid of: a fake jokey fear and a real fear. And the bees are the real fear.
That's why almost all the shit in my campaign is psychological horror.
Oh, dude, fuck yeah. Thank you so much. Next up, from Juliefish.
Grump Morgan.
Necrostar.
Nobody talk to me right now.
Yeah, he just holds up he's like, no one's gonna talk to me, it's just quiet time.
I also love that his posture totally gives him just dad bod.
It's the breastplate, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It cleaves out a little. It's not flattering.
It's literally holding my organs together.
Whatever you say, Dad.
Dad bod. Dad bod Morgan strong.
Thank you so much. Next up, once again from Juliefish.
I miss him.
You can just fucking deal.
You can fucking deal. This must be Sminfin Florf.
I think it actually says something about what'd you say about me? What'd you just say about me, you little bitch?
What did you just say about me, you little Viskin Fisnit Fortnit? You can fucking deal, mate.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Dagon. Rip in pieces.
Next up from Caesar Morales, Ziga Exeron.
I'm a force of nature. Just running.
Here I come with the hugs, dispensing hugs.
You just got killed by natural causes.
How'd it die? Mushroom. I just giant fucking
shrooms.
mushroom came and just beat the fuck out of him with a stick.
What happened? How'd he die? Bad shrooms, man. Bad shrooms.
Wham, 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 wham.
I'm very angry with you.
This will only make you stronger. Oh, fuck, he's dead.
Well, too far.
Now he is paste.
We have found balance.
Welcome to True Neutral.
God damn it.
He sure didn't seem hungry.
Thank you so much, Ziga Exeron.
It's a very thin line on that mushroom line. It goes from neutral hungry to neutral dead.
Yeah. Artsy Joe 94 with the toony style showing off the boys how they go to sleep at night.
I got a bubble bath.
Peace and quiet.
Just staring at
That
the
is the
corner.
most fucking Blair Witch shit I've ever seen.
It's his most comfy state.
But again, he turns around and looks at you, shy guy face.
I'll take exclusively bubble baths.
Thank you so much, and all the little emojis going on in
Hell
there
yeah.
too. And this one by Inkumame.
Hey guys, I joined the fish mafia.
Misha! Look at what I discovered!
Oh my god.
Ow, my foot.
It's so delicious! Oh.
And so it has come to pass, and the torch of Team Babysitter has now been passed from Red to Micha and Voltara. Good luck wrangling the children.
I fucking love stern Voltara. Just like,
Oh my god.
I am the Iron Vigil.
She's like the very stern fucking elementary school teacher. And Micha, oh my god. That's actually the first picture anyone's drawn of Micha yet.
yeah, Micha's the headmaster, and like
Voltara's the assistant.
Yeah, Voltara's like that stern vice principal.
The muscle.
I just joined the fish mafia.
Oh my god.
It's just so delicious.
Oh my god, he's
I
the
don't-
one that hired me for this.
Give baby the bottle.
I think that's it. Thank you very much. This is really good.
I'm just gonna go get my own. I'm gonna get my own quarters on this ship. I'll be alone for 5 days, and it'll be. Oh my fucking god. Could this be any worse? All right, we're going to get you out of this.
Don't you worry, we're getting you out.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Don't worry, Micha, I have a plan.
Are you drunk?
The Kill Bill. We just place in her head.
All right, if we hear me out, if we knock out the entire crew, then no one's guilty.
Pacifying spores on the whole ship.
I mean,
What is a mutiny, Micha? Motherfucker!
I mean, if we do take over the ship, we do control the law of it.
The law of the sea.
The law of the sea. There are no laws, especially in a
And then-
time of chaos.
And then Cam just like rubs her hands and pulls out a gun. You all fell right into my trap. The baby pulls off the...
I knew it.
was
Go,
it.
baby.
It was it all along.
rips her head off, and there's it. No, it's Grammy.
I'm confused.
Don't worry about it. The ship is mine now!
All right, where are we going?
To the bottom of the sea.
We'll see you guys next time, Wonders. Have a great time.
Bye.